Welcome everybody to MogTalk. If you guys are unfamiliar with MogTalk, it's a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage raiding to Chocobo racing. Today is June 8th, 2024. This is episode 303 of MogTalk. And today we're going to be talking about the media tour that just happened for Dawntrail. And to do that, I brought on guest who actually went there. I went there myself to NA. Woops went there on a different day than I did. Over in NA, and then we have some EU representatives, Melon and Rinon. Welcome everybody to the show.
That's gonna stick now, isn't it? That's gonna be the new thing. I need to rename everything, rebrand.
All you gotta do is like color in that line.
Melon YouTube.
just have like the cat, but with like a melon hat. You know, like the half a melon cut out.
Yeah,
or just the cat ears poking out. Yeah,
that'd be perfect. I mean, all you got to do is take that eye, color in the space between the dot and the line, and move it to the middle of right after E, and you're good. But since this is the first time you've been on the show, Meoni, would you like to tell everybody kind of who you are and you know, why people should know you?
Sure. I don't think people should know me, but like I make videos for the past, I don't know how long, probably too long, around all kinds of things in 14 that a lot of people don't usually do. So glamour stuff, but the more like casual ways of doing things, you know, guides on the more basic things, stuff like that. I would say a bit of everything, really. A bit of everything. But
yeah, it sounds like people should know you.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I couldn't compare to someone like Rinon. So.
Okay.
He's a master of,
what? No.
You are.
All right. That transition. Let's go over to Rinon. Rinon, tell everybody who you are.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Rinon. I make YouTube videos where I yap primarily about raiding. I do hardcore prog as well, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay. And Whoops.
What's up?
Who are you?
I'm Whoops. You just said, man.
Shit, dude. What do you even do?
Oh, I like to raid in Final Fantasy XIV. I make YouTube videos sometimes, and yeah.
Okay. Fair. That works. Hey, that works. You play Metal Gear Solid. You're the Metal Gear Solid streamer, right?
Yeah. Recently, yep.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad, you know, Final Fantasy XIV is good to throw in for your variety streaming, and I appreciate you give it some time every once in a while. Whoops. But that being said, again, Whoops, you were there day 1, right?
Yep.
I was day 2. Did EU have 2 days, or did they have 1 day?
So yeah, we had as far as I've been told, we had a French day, and then we had an English speaking day.
Oh, okay. Okay. I feel like there's some jokes that will go behind that too for some reason, but just how EU servers are with all that.
I thought everything was all on one day. Like that was the impression that I had, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, yesterday we had all the French media and creators over."
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys got day 2?
Yeah, we
had day 2.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough, dude. And you didn't even have. You had 1 week, right? 1 week of editing.
Yeah. Our media tour day was Thursday, and then the embargo lifted the next Thursday. But obviously, most of us were traveling back on Friday. And in my case as well, I was like home Saturday morning. So it ended up like 5-ish days basically to prep after media tour.
That's rough. And then you got real sick, right?
I managed to avoid sickness, luckily.
Oh,
but
I
know that some people
were
did.
sick. Somebody said they were sick. But really,
somehow I avoided it. I don't know how. But Pint said he was
it
sick.
Pint that got sick? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, I know at least a few people at EU got sick. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, dude, like, when we went, you know, before we even get into that, let's talk about like getting invited and that whole just experience leading up to going to media tour. The invitations went out like sometime in April, right?
Seems right.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like early April for me at least. I had a meeting with like a Square Enix employee, like Jamie from the EU team, and they were basically like, we're interested in inviting you. We just want to get like a vibe check from you.
There was a meeting?
Yeah, I had a meet.
Oh, they vibe
I had a
checked
meeting.
everyone.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, they wanted to vibe check me.
Oh, okay.
And I guess I
I've been
passed the
learning.
vibe check because I got invited like 2 weeks
The
later.
more I've been talking to people about Media Tour this year, the more like weird stuff has happened. Like
Yeah, that is
unconventional.
strange.
Yeah,
Like the
I got an email.
like the, not telling everybody about the interviews, but only giving some people the interviews was another thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I completely
was in
understand that
situation,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it too. I mean, anyone who got an interview, I hate them now, right? I mean, that's just what it is. So, so I know that. I mean, they only had like limited time. They could do like interviews and everything else. And you know, I've done this a handful of times. There's always situations where you can kind of like bug Yoshida, right? There's open moments where you could like hit him up with a question or something real quick if you really wanted to, and you could probably do it because he's friendly and awesome with everybody over there. But yeah, I know it's changed over the years. I've been going, so I at least was invited since the Stormblood expansion to all these media tours.
Wow.
Maybe next one I won't be. Who knows? It's impossible to tell. But it's interesting to see how it's kind of evolved all these years, all the way up until this recent one. Meoni, Rinon, is this the first time you guys have gone to Media Tour for?
Physically, yeah. I was in the digital one when they basically had the COVID restrictions, so we were using Parsec to play the game.
Right.
But I didn't really notice any difference in latency anyway in person. So
unfortunate for you guys. I'm so sorry you had that experience.
Wasn't too bad. Yeah, for me it's my first time. Like,
okay.
I'm not gonna lie. It's obvious that it's my first time because this is the first year I've managed to do content consistently without taking like 6 months off. So it's no wonder, basically.
Fair. And Whoops, this is your second time too, right?
Yeah, I went to the Endwalker
online one too.
Well. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really cool experience. It was really odd this time, just in how harsh the embargo was in comparison to previous ones, because usually you could at least kind of say something about, hey, I have content coming out, or hey, I am going. But I think they've just had so many issues in the past. They wanted to like kind of prevent like any kind of harassment or any kind of other stuff that might happen to the people who are going, and it makes sense. Like, I asked multiple times, and they're like, "Yep, hold the embargo. Don't tell anyone, not content creators, not anyone that you're going." Right? Of course, it's easy to find out after a bit who was going, because how do you not put two and two together? They say Media Tour is happening within this date range, and then a whole bunch of people in the same region are not going to stream on this day.
Suddenly there's no videos for a week. It's like, where's Meoni gone?
Pretty obvious.
I'm not really sure how much I like how they handled the embargo this year.
Yeah?
No?
Especially because last year for the Endwalker one, when I got invited and they say, hey, you can go. This is when you're going. You can tell people, just don't share XYZ, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was able in that time to like talk to people and like bounce ideas off of people for what I should like grab, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I really liked doing DRS that last expansion. I'm gonna go talk to my DRS friends in like the DRS discords. Hey, what do you want me to find out for you? Blah blah blah. Hey, I'm gonna go talk to my fishing friends. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
This is what was already missing this time, I think, because I was really excited to do that too. I was really excited to be like, okay, I'm gonna go like collect information from people of things that I would like to find out or things I would like to try, and then you just couldn't, right? Because you couldn't talk about it. I was like, oh damn, that's a shame.
Yeah. There was like a handful of things that were kind of going out there. I think the only way you could have really handled that situation is to like say, hey guys, let's just make a public list for whoever's going to the media tour. I don't know who's going, but let's just collect a whole bunch of questions.
Though.
I played some fucking mind games with Exu inadvertently because I really wanted to get Black Mage information.
He really wanted Black Mage information.
Yeah, and I saw that he had a public poll that was like collating information of questions that they wanted for Black Mage and the other jobs. And I DM'd him and I was like, can I have a look at that? I'm just really curious to look at it. And, and he just sussed me, sent it to me, and I just ignored him from then on because I couldn't say anything else.
I mean, yeah, you just can't. I mean, again, it was obvious, and at some point, you just kind of people will get tired of asking you, hopefully, about it. I had a good handful of people poking me about it, and I was just like, nah, I can't. Sorry, I'm just. Have no clue. I don't know who's invited. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It's weird that no one said anything, man. I don't fucking know. It's just crazy. So yeah, it was kind of a weird experience in general. The weirdest thing was that the embargo had to be held until the content was released. And it was so much fun to like go into like Discords where people were just kind of talking about it constantly, and they're like, oh, you know, embargo's going to be this time because of this and that, and they're like doing this like crazy shit where they're trying to figure out when the embargo was going to be lifted, because that wasn't even public. It wasn't even public when content was going to come out, right? And that was pretty insane. But, you know, it's fine. I'm okay with it. There's some benefits to it. I do wish we were able to talk and at least know the other content creators that were going, because that would have been nice. Because in the past we would like figure out who was asking what questions, so we didn't overlap our questions. Right,
we did that,
that would have been helpful.
In Todd's hotel room after we were already there.
yeah Oh man, yeah. Well, you know, I didn't know who was going to day 2. I had an idea of a lot of people who were going to day 1 over at NA. And then, so what I did is Happy, myself, and Sly just kind of just hanged out downstairs, right? We just hung downstairs and waited for people to check in. We're like, all right, do I know who this is? And we just caught people, like Cider came up, and June came up, and a handful of people, you know, came in, and we just waved them down as they were coming in. Because while you guys didn't know who was going, we didn't know exactly who was going either, outside of some obvious social posts that were out, right? But hopefully they change that in the future in some
I suppose regard. For NA, it's especially interesting because you guys were like split into 2 days, whereas us, like, pretty much all of the English speaking content creators were on the same day, so we all met up the day before, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that you guys were like totally split.
Yeah,
I suppose it makes sense because obviously you're all English speaking, but yeah.
Yeah, it was split between, like, both days had like a healthy mix of media and content creators going in at the same time. So it wasn't even like a media day. They've done this in the past where it was like a media day and then a content creator day. But this time they kind of just mixed everybody together. Actually, a couple people who went, like Arthur's has said this publicly a good handful of times, is Arthur's didn't get invited. He sent an email asking and, you know, trying to kind of just shoot his shot to go out there, and they got him in. And they were pushing people off of day 1 and asking them to go to day 2 because everyone wanted day 1 for that extra day of editing. And so I went day 2 because I said, the message I sent was, I want to be when on the day the content creators are. And I got on the day with the least amount of content creators because all the content creators wanted to go to day 1. But fortunately enough, like, we were able to like get a good feel, and you knew like one person, whatever, that went day 1. You could send a message, get something organized, and we were all able to go eat dinner. And so that's all I wanted, dude. I just want to eat dinner with people. Because that's the best thing. Like, when you go to like media tour and you're hanging out with people, you're hanging out with fucking everybody, right? Tons of people. This is one of the few times where like the content creators get together and it's just the content creators hanging out. And so it's kind of like a different vibe. And it's the only chance you really get to do that. So that was fun. And you get to meet people, like other people who work and do kind content creation that you might have not met before. Like over in EU, you guys had like a lot of Echo people over there as well too, right? From
yeah, we did. Yeah. Both. Well, Scripe was there. Like there were a bunch of WoW players in general that were there actually. Like people who like came over to FF from WoW. There are a lot of people from different games as well. Like there were creators from Elder Scrolls Online as well. Like a bunch of different MMO creators all in general
like
came to the media tour. Yeah.
So I mean that was pretty cool. That's a pretty cool experience in general. I knew pretty much everybody that went to the NA one. The only people I didn't know were a lot of people that were working for like magazines or whatever, you know, websites, news outlets and stuff. I didn't know a lot of them. But all the content creators, I think the only shit, no, I talked to almost every single content creator that went. I knew all of them. Jesse Cox, who was it? Why am I Midna, Curious Joy, Jahara Jade, Happy Sly, like fuck, there's just like a ton of people. Wesk Alber was one that I got to meet, was pretty cool because I had him on the show recently.
Oh yeah, I'm happy he got invited. I saw that the other day. That's really cool.
Yeah, and then June Bob too was really cool to see because those were actually surprises. And yeah, and Zeno and Zeppelin, just like tons of fucking people. But it, you know, I got to meet some people in the media, which was neat too. Although they took my interviews. Because they went. I didn't get an interview, right? Nah.
They did say whilst we were there as well, I think it was Jamie who said that this time around they focused a lot more on content creators than just having more media. So there was more content creators on the EU side than there was media this time because they wanted to make a conscious effort to include more content creators. So.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you need... there is some sort of like logic they got to figure out with the media tour too, right? They want people who know how to play Final Fantasy. They want people who are not also people who have communities outside of Final Fantasy too, right? As part of like a business sense, it's great to like push Final Fantasy into people who don't play Final Fantasy. But they also don't want people to sit at the computer and just get up and be like, cool, Final Fantasy, and leave, right? Whoops.
Yep.
What was that experience again? What happened?
The dude to my right, at the beginning of the day, sat down, Fantasia to a here, like literally did a C pose with the Viper weapons, and then went, yep, cool. Turned to his buddy and was like, yes, Final Fantasy. And then they left. They stood up and walked out.
What?
No way.
Yep.
Oh, man.
And then one of the Square employees like walked up to me and they're like, hey, where'd they go? And I was like, they just left. I just watched them leave. And they were like, oh.
And they never came back? That was them done?
They were gone.
Holy shit.
Oh my god. That was their playtest. Wow.
So odd.
Yeah. Fantasia works.
Yeah, their write-up's going to be amazing, you know.
I wonder if they have any articles out right now. They probably got some AI generation to like fucking imagine an article or something. I don't know.
I've seen that with other games when I've gone to places. Like we had one for Kingdom Under Fire 2, which was also in Germany when they that company. I don't know if the game's still around now, but we got shipped over to this castle, and there was a bunch of press there. Like I'm not mentioning names for obvious reasons, but they sat down, played the game for like 5 seconds, got up, and then went and spent the rest of the day in the bar. So like, that was their play test. And they were writing like articles on the game, like reviewing it. I'm like, okay then, all right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's kind of a difference too between content creators and like news organizations. News organizations like and those outlets do like billions of these things, right? And they don't give a shit. They just they need to make an article that fits into whatever their word count is on their website about this topic. So when someone Googles it, they go to their website and they get this rough summary. The content creators usually they're like, I have to make content that people want to absorb. Usually, I think, and it has some sort of like knowledge or information about the actual topic. It's not just random bullshit on a website. I mean, and again, that doesn't go for all media outlets. Not all media outlets are doing that, but that is where you'll see some of these people who kind of just whatever. I'm here. I click a few buttons and don't really care.
Yeah, they just put the clickbait title on the article, and then there's nothing in the article. It's like those exact people that I've met, and it blows my mind every time, the opportunities that you miss out on. But I suppose they don't really care. Like you say, they're doing like 100 of these a year, or maybe more, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that being said, I hope they never get invited again. Whoops, whoever the fuck that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I mean, the venue over at the NA side was it was kind of neat. It was in a part of town that you wouldn't want to stay in, but it was like it was kind of jungly.
We were in Skid Row, like actually.
Really?
I used to live in LA. It was like not a great area.
Wow.
Like a dangerous area. Actually.
We were in the middle of we were in the middle of the city. Like there were bars right next to us and this beautiful river, and across from us was this like, I don't know, some fancy like palace thing with trams going by. It was beautiful.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
I mean, I didn't mind the venue itself. The venue was fine.
Yeah, the inside was great.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
You just the
what
thing
was
is
your guys' venue like? Like, was it like themed after anything, or was it
jungle?
Like,
did you have plants?
It was a place that you'd like rent out to have like a wedding, right? It was like a multi-room kind of like ballroom kind of deal where it's like, just like big open areas. There was a bar, and then they'd set up like desks for the computers, like long tables.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was like light blue, white, and then there's lots of plants, like exotic plants and stuff. So it fit the Dawntrail theme.
Cool.
On the nail.
That's really cool.
No alcohol, even though there was a bar. But
yeah, we had mocktails.
We had mocktails. They were good. They were good.
We had mocktails too. Yeah.
Those
our venue was a tropical botanical garden, and we got like toured through it before we went through to the actual venue hall itself.
Crazy birds and like tarantulas in cages, and there was an underwater section that we went through with like underwater life. It was weird, but on every single interview you can hear birds because there's like this arboretum above us, all these parrots and parakeets and all these tropical birds. It was lovely. And then the inside of the section where the PCs were, they said this is the first time they've ever had anything to do with computers or gaming there, like at all. Normally it's just people coming there for like like for parties and things like that. And they had like a tiki bar and a taco stand. It was pretty good. Pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, the food, I can't remember all the food we had, but I mean, it was like Brazilian themed, I think.
Wait, did we have tacos as well? Someone told me we had tacos.
I don't think we had, maybe, I can't remember. We had chips and salsa for sure. We had plantains, fried plantains.
I got scraps.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, I wasn't thinking about the food. I was like,
no,
there's food I can eat, and I'm glad it tastes okay, but you go over to it, and you get it, go back to the computer, and you're like, all right, I got to get XYZ done. I just have to keep going, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the Square Enix employees like literally walked over to me at like 2 p.m. and put a hand on my shoulder and was like, hey, go eat. And I was like my mom, because I was like, the moment I sat down, I was working like super hard.
Yeah. I was the same.
I knew, so like they were just like, "Hey man, like go take care of yourself." But I was like,
I realized by the time evening came round that I had forgotten to eat or drink all day because I just spent 6 hours hitting the dummy, like not paying attention to the world around me.
Yeah, dude.
I just made use of the coffee. There was like endless supplies, and that was all that was needed for that entire day.
I went to the bathroom so many times because of how much coffee I drank.
Yeah,
that was the biggest like factor was me having to like get up every like, I don't know, 30 minutes or something to run to the bathroom. But then I made use of that time too, right? So like I would set my character up, background music only, go to some area where I haven't got it captured, and then I get up and go to the bathroom, get some food real quick, come back, and then start poofing again.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I did. Yeah. Go get a coffee, leave it recording in Urkapacha, and then you've got music to put behind your video. Perfect idea. Best use of time.
Yeah. And luckily, you know, I've done this like a handful of times, so I know exactly the different types of music to get, like the night audio, the day audio, the art music, and then like the dungeon one, the town one. I put a video up for Hrothgar, like emotes and stuff. And I was like, I went down the list, every single fucking one, right? I was like, I've got this shit. I got perfect shots of all this stuff. And the comments like that get up to voted the most, they're like, you don't have all the C poses? What the fuck is this? Like, God damn it, dude. I don't know. I don't know every C pose. But yeah, I feel like we're at the point with these media tours and the time that you have to make a choice. You go in and you get all of the job shit, or you get everything else.
Or
right?
other stuff.
Yeah, it's those two things.
I didn't realize just how limiting it was because it was my first time. But like you get like 6-7 hours to play the game, right? There's 21 jobs if you want to collect all the job stuff. Assuming you want to do the dungeon too and like maybe do an A rank or something, you get like 15-20 minutes a job max to do everything for that job. It's insane. Yep. It's super limiting. You can't just like film everything, you know. I thought I was like, 7 hours, that's loads of time. It'll be fine. And it really was quite tight.
Oh, it is literally not enough time.
When Jill and I were editing our videos, we were sitting down like 24 hours out from the embargo release, and we were like, man, next year we got to see if you could come along, Jill, because like if they add more jobs, there is no way you're getting everything in time.
No. Yeah. There's no, it's impossible. Like, it really needs to be. I was telling them at the event, I probably shouldn't give it away, my plan. But my plan is to create an alternate account that's a VTuber, get it really fucking popular in Final Fantasy XIV, and then, put out a whole bunch of shit, get that VTuber invited, then I get invited for me, and then make them go on separate days, and just one of the days I go in with a mustache, right? Or like an extra, or shave. I don't fucking know.
A mustache. Okay.
Yeah, so we got Frosty going one day, and we got Frosty-chan going the other day.
Totally not Frosty-chan, yeah.
Yeah. That's the only way. 2 days, I could have done it. If I had 2 days, I could have done it. But one day, you have to make a decision. I tried. I mapped it out. I had a spreadsheet with every single thing I needed to do and timelines. And then I was like, I can get all the tooltips in like 15 minutes. It took me 40 minutes. And then I realized, oh, fuck. Which ones did I not get the little new guides on or anything? Oh, fuck. Which ones did I like not show the simple gauges on? There's just so much shit that I had to backtrack on. I mean, it did help a lot with all the prep and planning, but there's just no way to get every single job. I think I got half the jobs, but even if I did get all the jobs, with the extra week we had, I still wouldn't have had enough time to do all the jobs plus all the extra content for editing. So it was rough.
Just got to stop sleeping, you know?
Yeah.
The weakness.
That was what I did.
Yeah.
I rationed my sleep after media tour to like 4 hours a night so that I could get everything done.
Yeah.
And even then I didn't get everything done.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing I could do is like abandon my family. I was thinking that could be an option as well. Yeah. But yeah, if you guys look at some of these videos and you look like a couple of things are edited a little bit weird, or it's not perfect or crisp as you'd usually expect, there's not time. You gotta like make a choice. You're like information and content in the video versus presentation, right? And I feel like a lot of people just had to kind of get together what they could. That's what I did for the Pictomancer job, because I was like, I played so much Picto-fucking-mancer in this damn thing. I'm going to make at least one job guide, and it's going to be Pictomancer. Because, man, maybe I should have done Viper instead, because I could explain Viper so much easier than I could explain Pictomancer. It just took me a little bit to, like, figure out how I was supposed to, like, tell people how to play it and everything else. There's all these little tiny things to talk about with it. But that all being, go ahead.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Our plan was to have me go to the media tour, press all the buttons on the new jobs, press them all, and just, even if it's not right, in post later, in the idea that we needed to record everything for the day, we would learn how to play the job after when I got home.
Just need the animation.
Pressed everything, hovered over everything, and then like what Jill would do was whenever I was talking about a specific thing about the job, like this muse, use this muse now, she would just cleverly cut to that exact moment where it was being used.
Yeah.
Out of context of the rest of the rotation that I was doing.
It's tough, but there's ways you could do some good editing.
It was hard.
Yeah. But fuck, dude. It's always gonna be regret of wanting more time, but I mean, I was blown away. The experience, everyone was so fucking nice too. Like all the staff was super fucking nice, and accommodating, and just really cool in general. Did you guys
They seem to have the same passion for the game as we do,
Right.
Like everybody I talked to was like, oh, because they were out of controllers, right? Because I was like, I don't need a controller to play on because I'm a keyboard and mouse player, right? But I like a controller because you can hold the analog stick, set it to the lowest sensitivity, and do some really nice pans. I was like, if you've got one spare, she's like, oh, we've ran out of these, but you can borrow mine that I was using earlier. So I ended up using this lady's. But and then she was talking about how much she loved the game, and then I had other people come over. Some of the French staff was like, "I love your videos." Seeing the character in the flesh and all this stuff. It was very strange, But they love the game as much as we do. So they're really lovely people. They're passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
I wish it was like that year round.
Fair.
I'll say it.
That's fair. I don't know. Like I've always had a decent relationship with a lot of the people on the staff, at least with I've seen them over the years from doing the shoutcasting over at FanFest events and like doing a couple other things with them. It's just been around for so fucking long. That's like just seeing good friends every time I see them, and then meeting some of the new staff and everything. But did you guys do a meet and greet with Yoshida?
There was no meet and greet.
There's no meet and greet at all?
No, there was a stage conferencey thing at the start, and then he disappeared.
Okay.
He went off to start interviews, I think, straight away. So
yeah, he popped around like dinner time, had some red wine and stuff, and yeah, that was about it.
Yeah.
Oh, he hung out with you guys for dinner?
Well, not directly.
Not really hung out, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like there was about a 30-minute window, I think, after the presentation where he did a little bit of meet and greet over at NNA. But it was really just for pictures. Cool. They're like, hey, you guys want to take a quick picture or something? And that's when I got the chance to give him that like World Race plaque from the Extra Life charity stuff.
That's so cool.
I was like, if I get an opportunity, I'm going to give this to him. And I hope Yoshida puts it on his desk or something and has it in his room. So he just looks around. He's like, Final Fantasy World Race. I'll remember, it's just like it pops in his head every once in a while. So now he said he'll put it on his desk. So hopefully he sends me a picture of his desk too every week. So I remember that or I actually know it's there. But yeah.
Just move all of those confidential raid plans out of the way and then take the picture. Yeah.
Whoops, did you get a chance to talk to Yoshi at all?
Yeah, briefly. I just shook his hand, said, hi, I love your stuff. This is what I do. And he's like, oh, yeah. And then, take a picture.
Cool. Yeah. When I went around the corner, everyone was just so fucking intent on getting into the game and getting to work immediately. But I went over there. I was like, yeah, let me go take the picture real quick. No one was lined up. There's no one there except for, I think there's someone who was taking a picture, and then I went over there and he was like, oh, hey, Frosty. Yeah, what's up? I'm like, all right. And then I was a nervous, like, weird person the entire fucking time. And it feels horrible. Because I've met Yoshida plenty of times. I've talked to him a good handful of times. But for some reason, every time it's just like this weird, nervous interaction that shouldn't really be there. I think it's like there's so much staff surrounding him, and there's so many, like, you got to do translations back and forth. It just feels like a burden for me to try to talk to him because so many other people have to get involved for it to happen, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it, but I don't know. To answer a quick question I saw in chat, because this is something that was on my mind when I was there, is there was no raid planner stuff at all. No. I looked for it. I didn't see it. They grayed out a good amount of options as well, like the PvP stuff was grayed out.
Yeah.
There's just a handful of things you couldn't do. You couldn't travel some places. It was funny. They did actually have like Satasha unlocked, I think, in like a couple.
Yeah,
other
Satasha and Praetorium.
Yeah. The menus in general are just pretty barren.
Yeah.
I tried to go through achievements and see if I could get like a sneaky like sneak peek at something. But
They know. They know. But yeah, I tried. I think the one that felt like it was sneaky, but it wasn't, was the 2-die menu.
Yeah.
Because of how much like unfinished like English translation was in there, and they said, "Hey, don't show Japanese text in your videos, right? Edit it out,
blur it out." Yeah.
Some of you guys didn't do it.
Yeah,
I did.
I saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, like, I worked so hard. Like, I did a whole bunch of stuff on, like, the 2-die menu where I wouldn't try to show that on there. But then I was, like, watching Preaches and a whole bunch of other people. There's, like, nothing blurred out. It was just all over there. I'm like, I've wasted, like, a whole fucking day censoring my content.
It makes you feel that way, doesn't it? Especially when you're told you must not show any Japanese text. It's like, okay, this is going to be the next 30 minutes of me trying to, if I've moved the menu even slightly, that blur has to then transition and move, or I'm gonna like cut holes out of it or crop it. And then people just go and post it. It's like,
well,
you should have just done it, man. We should have just said fuck it. Right?
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I tried to make sure I stayed within all those bounds of the lines and everything, and I did my best. There's a good amount where I couldn't. I think there was a moment in the dungeon where some Japanese text popped up when Alphino cast his dot, and so in the battle text, the floating text, you could see it pop up. I'm like, I'm not doing shit with that. It's just there. I'm not going to censor out this floating text that pops up every time a dot pops up. But I tried to be pretty good about it. But outside of all that, experience was great being there. The content that we actually experienced while at the media tour, right, was actually fantastic too. The thing that like fucking like stun locked me every once in a while is when I was going into the zones, and then I would just see how the graphic update looked in person.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
So good.
It was mad.
They've really undersold the graphics update. Like, unironically, I know that they've talked about it every live letter for the past like year. Yeah. They didn't talk about it enough. Genuinely, it's like way better in person, in game, than any pre-release material at all.
Yeah. I wish you could like show visually the quality of the game. Like in like whatever they've been showing, however we do recording, it doesn't translate the same. When I was doing the fly through on I think it's Europacha. Is that it?
Yeah.
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 The mountain one, and you look in the background, you can't go to all those mountains, but like it blends in so well, and it feels like insane. Because it feels massive. The mountains feel really massive and crisp. So I'm really hyped to see what like the rest of the game is going to look like, because this isn't just like a graphics update for just this expansion, right? I mean, you're going to see the effects of the graphic changes throughout everywhere. There's going to be a couple things that look a little bit wonky, but like in past stuff, but like a lot of it's going to look really crisp and clean, dude.
I mean, the other thing to remember, sorry.
No, you go.
Yeah, the other thing to remember as well is based on the feedback with the benchmark stuff, they haven't even put in all of the the lighting tweaks and all of the shader tweaks. Like it's not final. It's going to look even better than that probably. Like, I don't know if you noticed in Kozama Uka with the waterfalls with the flickering, that wasn't final. The lighting wasn't around that. They were like artifacting constantly, and some of that was like shadows, I think, is the way that the light was hitting it, and it was just like not working properly. So the game is going to look incredible. But those mountains that you mentioned, I was surprised at how high you could go.
Oh,
that must be one of the highest like sky limits.
The Z-axis, like the highest Z-axis.
It was incredible.
Like the funniest tiny little detail that kind of stun-locked me for a little while is when I was taking like shots of the artifact gear, just watching the way the edges of the coats and the tassels like blew in the wind and looked really, really fucking good doing so, especially compared to FF now, was kind of it was a little mind-blowing, especially for me as someone who like wasn't particularly hyped about the graphics update. And I just had this moment where I was like, damn, this game looks really gorgeous right now. It looks really, really good. It looks so much better than like they could have possibly sold it to people.
Yeah.
It was even the little things like the hair moving in different ways when you did familiar animations. Or like the texture of cloth whenever you'd like hit some water or something, you're like, whoa.
I didn't even notice every little detail.
The lighting on metal as well.
Yeah.
God, like the transparency on the red mage gear on the arms.
Oh yes.
Yeah, where you could actually see skin through fabric. I was like, that's a game changer. I wonder how many other things are going to change like that. I need to go back through every piece of gear now and see what changed.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, I have a question for the people who went to the NA. So Yoshida asked us during his presentation at the end for feedback on the flashbang. Did he ask you as well?
He asked day 2. He asked day 2, but he didn't ask day 1. Right?
Oh,
what? No.
The when the menu popped up, did he ask you guys how you liked the menu? Like if it was too bright.
Oh, the title screen.
Yeah. Because he said on our media tour that they've had reports from their Western players about the flashbang on the title screen.
I mean, we wanted
to know if it was as bad in person.
It was.
Yeah, so like I remember day 2, like as soon as it happened, like right at the end of the presentation, he's like, "Ah, shit, we forgot to tell day 1 this, but day 2, can you please check the menu when you like go in there and tell me how bright it was?" So day 1 got left out of that conversation, but for some reason most people didn't really care. They thought it was fine. But the thing is, everyone is going to be playing in their dungeon and start up the game, and it's going to flash them. If you're in a very lighted area, it's not going to be a big deal, but like when you're in your dark dungeon room starting up Final Fantasy in the middle of the night, it's going to hurt. So I mean, they just need to add a night mode. It would be really fucking cool. This is what they should do. They should have both modes, right? But then like it checks your computer time, and if your computer time's like past 6 p.m. or something, it goes into like a night mode, and then
that could be good.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Or just kind of kept up with in-game time. Either way, but yeah, a night mode, have an option to flip the two or something like that could make a big difference. He was talking about just making it more foggy. I mean, that's fine too. Oh yeah, when you play, I guess any Bandai game is pretty much the same shit too, right? Because they have that big white screen that pops up, and it says Bandai or whatever the fuck it is, I think.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, what else? So that's like one of the big things that obviously stood out. But I'd like to. There's a handful of things for us to go over, but I want to throw the floor over to Woops real quick, and just Whoops, what over there stood out the most at the event? Like, what got you most excited?
What got me the most excited at the entire event? Oh man.
Come on.
There's so many things. I guess the Dragoon stuff.
Really?
Yeah. That was the thing I wanted to see the most.
Okay. Are you happy with the Dragoon stuff?
Yeah. I'm easy to please.
Okay, good to know.
Not saying the changes or anything were lazy, but like I will. That's important note nowadays because God, some of the nerds about this game are absolutely insufferable when it comes to just getting new things for the video game. Like, oh my God, man.
Yeah,
everybody's suddenly a game developer, right? But like, I like it.
Okay,
I like it.
Okay. Rinon, did you have any thoughts on Dragoon?
On Dragoon? Yeah, Dragoon was fucking great. Okay. I get that some people are probably maybe displeased that they've removed the Mirage Dive jump in terms of getting your eyes, but now you don't get your Dragoon getting mad whenever you kill a phase 2 seconds too early, which is a good thing. Now it plays like a Final Fantasy XIV job,
Right.
I thought they were going to remove the amount of CPM that you have in your burst windows, but they didn't. They just offloaded it from annoying gap closer jumps into cool animations, right? So it honestly 95% it plays the same. It looks cooler,
Right. I went through Dragoon, but I just pressed all the buttons and actually like focus on the real changes to it. But I think, most of the jobs seem like they're in a decent spot. I know a lot of people are upset about, like, Monk. and they're not too happy with the way that that's rolling out. But it seems smooth to me. There's going to be some like
it is
variation.
Get to you. They've locked their FPS to 60 hertz and learned optimal drift for 3 years. So now they're mad that has gone to waste. That's it.
Yeah, New Monk's fun. It's really fun. Like, it is slightly different. I'd say it's more different than Dragoon is, but yeah, Monk's fun. It's really fun, and I enjoy current Monk as well. But New Monk is really fun as well.
Yeah,
it's like a slightly different challenge.
I mean, like the biggest thing that I noticed is that you have a lot more variation in how you handle your getting your whatever your dark setup is, or is it light setup? I can't remember, where you go back and forth like a whole bunch of times, or you do this like the same lane the entire time. Like, you have a lot more choices with that now, right?
Yeah, and now the Lunar and Solar are equitable now as well, because they both do 900 potency instead of before one was better than the other, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate dots. Well, okay, I don't hate dots. All right, I like upkeep, but I don't like upkeep in 3 different places. One being the buffs, the other one being the dot, the other one being your toggle between an increased attack on every other, right? Now they all just do the exact same thing, where it's like, you do this one, now you can hit the other one 2 times. You do this one, you can hit the 3 times. But like, the difficulty in doing that was so invigorating, I guess, for people who were looking for that out of Final Fantasy, and that being gone is why people are upset. But people are still going to have fun with it. It's just not going to be the same. It's going to be different. And that's enough to piss people off. Melon, what did you have any job thoughts?
Job thoughts, other than Pictomancer blowing my socks off, I thought that was fantastic. I went in with no expectations and really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was something that reminded me very heavily of Summoner, but if Summoner was actually enjoyable with another set of mechanics, you know what I mean? Like, it was Summoner plus. That's how it felt to me. I just really enjoyed it, honestly. Yeah. It just felt like a finished job. It didn't feel underpolished.
Well, it's not potency wise, it's not for sure.
Well, we don't look at numbers, right?
There's a couple of overlooks, especially in like the AoE side of I think Pictomancer, but it feels great. And is it the heaviest cast time job right now?
Whether that or Black Mage will be heavier is kind of yet to be seen. Yeah.
Yeah, the paint is just so fucking exhaustive with how long it takes, right? But like, at the same time, that's the point. You're supposed to like find the spots where you nail yourself down and you can paint. And so there's so much, like, so many different options for when you do stuff, and it's still optimal as like you can move your spells around a shitload, and it's still just as optimal if you did it a different way. So I love how it feels. I'm gonna be playing the fuck out of it. Like, I was planning to make it like the first job I level up is still gonna be the first one I'm level up, right? It's
nice. In
concrete now, so but right now, yeah, I looked at some of the math that's currently out there, and the potency just it's not finalized. They're gonna fix it. I'm certain they're gonna fix it. But at the moment, with the current potencies, you just do Rainbow Drip, Holy, back to back, over and over and over, and that's your max.
Yeah, there's no way that's gonna stay that way. There's no way.
Yeah,
it can't.
So yeah,
no.
It will have to change. And there's some stuff with the white paint that is kind of weird with the potency and everything, but I think that will probably get changed up too. And I think a lot of the language with how they like describe stuff within the skills threw me off.
Really?
Yeah, like the is affected by hyperphantasia, when it's not affected by hyperphantasia, it's affected by inspiration, but it takes away a stack of hyperphantasia. Like, the way that kind of functions kind of like fucked with my head a little bit, because I'm like, am I missing a buff somewhere? Like, with what hyperphantasia does, but it's really just a ticker for, like, you knock out these 5 stacks, then you get your benefit from it. Inspiration supposedly the one that like gives you the increase. So that threw me off a little bit, and I think the other thing that threw me off was the conversion of black paint to white paint, where you don't need a white paint to convert. It just gives you a buff. that you eventually can apply to a white paint when it comes up. You don't have to have something already prepped for it. And so there's a couple of things with Picto that kind of were just kind of weird, but I still love the job.
Yeah, mechanically it felt sound. Potency-wise, nah.
I didn't play it correctly at all when I was at the media tour. I was just pressing buttons. In my video of my dungeon, I was spending so much time casting in the middle of pools. I'm like, this feels horrible. Why am I casting? And I would not redo the fucking paints between pools. And so it just looked so bad, but it's just what it is. All right. So job-wise, we're all pretty happy. Was there anything that you guys are like sad about? Black mages? I don't know. Rinon, you might know best.
Black mage is interesting, right? Like personally, I don't really have a horse in the race because I'm a lazy black mage and I only do very basic non-standard lines. So I don't really give a shit personally.
Right.
But I think the thing that's weird about black mage is it actually got harder for the low end and easier for the high end, which is weird because they've raised the skill floor, right? Because now this job has way less flexibility for if you fuck up. Because if you lose a fire 4 in your fire cycle, good job, you've just completely gimped your entire cycle worth of potency, right? Whereas before you could just do the despair and cut the cycle and move on, and it didn't really matter. So considering there's complaints on the JP forums, plus the fact that I think it actually got harder for the low end player, I think something about it will change. That said, I had a lot of fun playing Black Mage. Okay. I know it's like a highness thing to say based on what people are saying about it. But I had a lot of fun. I thought it was fun to play. I had a good time.
Okay.
I'm really glad they got rid of Sharpcast. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like could not give a shit that they got rid of Sharpcast. I'm like, yeah, like we don't need it. This is fine.
Yeah.
I think maybe Ice Paradox going is maybe a little annoying. So I liked Ice Paradox and I think it was quite useful. But
I really like that button.
You know what's funny? I was stun locked when I didn't see that anymore. I was like, am I missing a button? And I couldn't figure out if I just didn't place it on there, if I fucked up and just missed something completely. I had a whole folder of all the jobs and all the spell descriptions from how it is currently in the game with me, because I wanted to make sure that, like, if I noticed something was off, I could verify that I'm not just imagining the shit on the spot and get a proper recording of it. I unfortunately didn't make as much use of that as I wanted to, but yeah, that threw me off so much because I was just confused with it. But I mean, now you're just doing a shitload of fire, right? That's like most of Black Mage, it's just fire.
Yeah, now you're very locked to doing a 6 fire 4 cycle like every fire cycle, and if you don't, that's like a really huge failure state. Whereas before it was a bit more lenient on how many you did, right? But I think we might see small changes going into live on Black Mage, but I actually think that the core ideology behind current Black Mage is actually good, if not a little limiting. So I think 1 or 2 small changes and it will be in a really good spot.
Yeah. What about Viper, guys? Did you guys have fun with Viper?
I was surprised how easy it was.
It was so easy. It looks so much more confusing with the gauge and everything else. Like
Did you guys have the same experience as me where you read the Viper tooltips, you got a headache, and then you started pressing buttons on the dummy? You're like, oh, God, this is the easiest job in the game.
Yeah. I mean, it just lights up for you, dude. It's just like, this is exactly what you need to do. The only thing that doesn't, like, properly light up for you, I think, is the dot, right? So you have to remember to get the dot applied, because it will not always show it as the priority to get that back up.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed it in gameplay, but that Noxious Gnash, my nerd brain just assumed that was like a 60-second burst kind of thing, or maybe even like a 40-second burst kind of thing. That's a 100% uptime, because I didn't notice that it's on your single target combo as well. So yeah, all 3 of your things, you just apply them, keep them up.
You just keep pressing buttons. That's it. You just don't stop.
As long as you hit boss, they just stay up automatically. It's done.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to play, and like both Picto and Viper have so much AOE on them. They just blow shit away. I did notice. Maybe am I remembering this right? All the bosses seem to have like a decent amount of ads that came with them. in the dungeon. So I'm wondering if they're going to like start bringing that back a little bit more with, probably not, but probably start throwing more ads into like dungeons, raids, and everything else to have to handle, because if you get a group together right now, I'm imagining with a Viper and a Picto, they're going to blow through dungeons.
Oh yeah.
Completely destroy them, dude. Because it's just so much AoE. And with especially Picto, with you prepping your paints outside of the attacks and having that downtime between it, being able to just like line up all those really heavy AoE hits every single pull, it's going to be insane.
If you remember to paint them.
Yeah, you gotta remember to paint them. Just click those buttons, dude. But yeah, I'm happy with the way that they're designing the jobs. I mean, Viper feels like it feels too easy, but I'm okay with it, you know. Picto feels like it can be complicated, and it feels like a caster, and I'm content with that too. Right? It feels like an actual caster. But you also have tons of movement options. You're not locked in to constantly casting all the time. So, all right. Any other jobs that stood out for you guys a lot? Astro.
I have very mixed opinions on Astro, mainly because okay, so healing wise, it didn't change, right? Like it's pretty much identical. Well, it is identical. And they reworked the cards and made it so that essentially you play a lot less cards on players for damage, and a lot of them are for defense and mitigation and stuff like that. But the problem is, we didn't need any of that this expansion, because nothing hits the tanks hard enough to use it. Yeah. And every healer got more single target and tools as well next expansion. Like Astro gets a third stack of essential dignity, and the only potential gripe I have with Astro is that if tank damage stays the same way that it has this expansion and last expansion and the expansion before that, aka it's going to stay the same, is that you're going to just end up sitting on your cards or just throwing them away for overheal, because there's like nothing to use them on. And that's a shame, because while I'm not the hugest fan of the current card system, that means that just factually what you get next is worse if you don't have to interact with half of them at all, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's their. I'm assuming, right? I don't know their philosophy behind all of it, but my assumption is that you're always going to have an optimal like gameplay for these jobs. You're always going to have way more healing than you need. And it's to make up for the bullshit of Party Finder and playing with people who don't know what they're doing, right? And just having to be reactive and use your tools for everything else, and like when bad things happen, being able to have solutions to solve those, right? And not being so tight with that. So they just give you way too much shit, because they're like, well, if everyone fucks up, you'll have stuff to try to stay alive, I guess. But
I guess like the real thing that I wonder with Astro cards is, I wonder if one or two of them could have had slightly more interesting effects that would be a bit more multifaceted. Yeah, because then I think then I would be like, yeah, this is a win, love it, you know.
You're losing a lot of your choices. It's just there, right? And it's, I think what the meta is both of the your buff cards are going to fall stacked back to back, right? And so
yeah, you'll probably play your ranged card and like right before twos, and then you'll redraw, play the melee with like div and everything all at once, you know. So it's kind of like a light version of what you do now. You just have less cards to play, you know.
Yeah, and you have tons of cards. Just throw the fuck out there whenever, right?
You got a ton of cards just for heals and stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm hoping changes like that, like with the Astro cards, are going to play into the. If you guys caught it, he was talking about how the dev team has been super conservative lately because they're afraid of negative feedback on raid encounter specifically. And there was I forget where it was, but there was a specific quote where he was talking about the fact that he really wants tanks to be working in tandem more.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
One of them's just like, here comes the Buster. Kitchen sink, swap, done. And more so like having them do separate responsibilities at the same time, or even splitting up the entire party into doing separate responsibilities at the same time. So
yeah,
I'm hoping with how the Astro cards have been laid out, and with how many tools we also got, and the fact that tanks got 40% miss with extra effects on them, probably huge emphasis on probably means harder damage checks, harder mit checks, things like that.
Yeah, that's my hope, because like healers are only as interesting as the encounters, right? And if the encounters are boring to heal, which sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't right now, then giving you more tools basically does nothing for you, right? But if the fights are interesting to heal, or if they hit hard, or if they're fun to heal, then suddenly those more tools are just more opportunities to feel smart about doing something right. So that would like immediately fix the issues.
Yeah, take
like
away. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it comes back to when they said they wanted to make bosses more unique, right? The feeling between them, and maybe that comes into it, the idea of having different mechanics than anything we've ever seen before, to split those tanks up, to give people other things to juggle, so that you remember a fight for that, rather than just tank and spank.
Yeah.
You know, rather than just body checks all the time.
My hope is that, like, you know, Astro losing a little bit of this RNG to kind of deal with, and little things to think about, is that they're going to moved a lot of RNG over into the fights themselves, so everyone has a little bit of RNG to mess with. That would be my hope, is that like when you heal a fight, you're not always healing it the exact same way. Something comes up and you need to heal this person over here and this person over here, versus next time you have to heal these other people. Just give you something to react to. I think that's the biggest thing that would help with the fights, and taking away some of the stuff from some of the jobs. If they just add in these elements of randomness throughout these fights, it would feel great. I know the big number guys would hate it, because they just have to keep pulling until they get the efficient RNG on the fight, right? But it makes fights more fun if you make them more dynamic. So,
yeah, and with the increased tank cooldowns as well. Honestly, for tank busters in the future, I actually want to see less SWAT busters. Like, genuinely, just punt the tank 6 times in a row. I want it, you know, something that will just just 6 hits that are gonna nuke them one after another, and
have it be in the middle of something else.
Yeah. Literally.
Well, I mean, like, the biggest challenge with tanks currently in the design is doing your rotation while doing mitigations at the same time, right? I mean, that's it, is trying to weave things in properly, and I don't think that really needs to be the difficulty of the game, especially with how latency works between the different regions and everything, and shit people do to try to like mitigate that, right? And so I don't think weaving should be the interesting mechanic of the game. It should be doing physically moving other places and handling the mechanics of a fight. Should be the interesting pieces of the
Imagine Demonic fights. Bonds 3, but there's tank busters in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's what I want in Final Fantasy XIV. That's literally, as a healer, that's what I want.
With Akmons.
You know, the what was it? So basically, when the stupid towers and P10S are going off, you have one tank that's taking extra damage, right? But what if both tanks were taking extra damage, and it was at a certain point of it, right? I don't know.
Here's an example based on Harrowing Hell, like you said. You know how the tanks stand at the front and just pop their cooldowns? What if they got a vuln and you had to swap the people in the front out? And that meant that the people going to the front needed extra mit. Maybe I'm just a masochist, but to me that sounds really interesting to heal.
That's genuinely interesting,
yeah. As a healer, I agree. That would actually be spicy but enjoyable. And that's what we want, rather than just, is 8 people alive? No, you're all dead.
What's fun to me is when I go into P10S and as a healer with people who fuck up the fight, and I have to Asuna certain people. I'm like, who's gonna fuck up? Who do I got Asuna? I gotta react real quick, right? That's fun because I'm having to react to something. So it should probably make Asuna OGCD, but that's okay. All right.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, especially because in normal Raid Roulette you get people just letting people drop to the floor from Doom because they don't want to waste a GCD on their Asuna.
Yeah, but you're gonna lose the parse anyways because you gotta bring the guy back up, so your fight's gonna take longer, so it doesn't matter. It's dead anyways. As soon as they get hit, you just keep him alive, bring him back up. Whatever. You gotta swift cast that res. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what raid fights are going to look like. I know there's just been so much like harping on, hey, we're going to be putting the big job changes in the next expansion and everything. We're focusing on fights right now. I I'm fine with it as long as we go into these fights and it's crazy. The only thing that like scares me a little bit, and I think this could have just been like a translation thing in the moment, is when they were talking about that at PAX. They said they were gonna start seeing these changes in the 7.1, 7.2, 7.3 series, and they didn't say 7.0, so it makes me concerned that we won't see it in Savage, but that would be weird. I think I'm hoping that
I hope that's a translation error. I really do. It needs that from the offset. You know, people need that experience straight away. Otherwise, people are going to be like, "Oh, it's more of the same with no real job changes."
Yeah, that would be a big hit to the game if the starting raid doesn't have things that are worth mentioning and talking about.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see. The scary part for me too is that the world race, you know, of that happening, what if they like make these unique mechanics but there's not enough to hold people from just blasting the fight down and killing it really quick? So, I mean, there's two options that could happen. They could release these new battle mechanics in fights, and these raid tiers are going to take weeks when it was expected to take like a couple of days and fuck with everyone there. Or it could go the opposite direction. Everyone beats it in the first couple hours. So, we'll see. The time of risk is good and bad because when you're getting sponsors involved for a live event and it lasts half as long as you told them it would, it's a little bit scary.
I suppose, like, for me, I feel like FF14 job design can sometimes be hit and miss, but when it comes to the fights, there's always at least a couple of bangers every tier. So I'm not too worried. Like, I think that they're going to smash it out the park when it comes to fight design, no matter what, even with like the change philosophy, because they always do. Every expansion has always a bunch of good fights, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. You know, I'm way more hyped than I was after Media Tour for Dawntrail. I mean, I was hyped for Dawntrail just because it was new and it's been like a fucking year, right? But after actually experiencing some of the game now too, I feel pretty even more, I guess, invested in this expansion release and just being on top of it and just going really hard at it.
I can barely play the game at the moment.
Yeah, you go back and you're just like...
I know Rinon's feels the same about us, don't you? Like, we both said...
It looks so ugly in comparison.
Yeah, it's like, what is this PS2 era shit, man? Can we go back to Dawntrail? Can we go back to Berlin? Like,
yeah.
Oh, man. It's that good.
Yeah. God, and going back and you just do the same raids you were doing all before, it's just like, fuck, man. Well, it is what it is. Okay. Anything system-wise that you guys saw that kind of like piqued your interest, I guess, with the game? I mean, the things that, of course, stood out to me were like the little things I didn't mention, like the thing where it takes you to the boss after a dungeon, like you die, and you immediately go to the...
That's pretty good, yeah.
That's such a game changer.
I can't prove it was like every boss, right? I can't prove it was outside of Trust, right? But I
didn't know it until I saw your tweet.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, that's really cool.
I don't know if any of you guys ran with other people and died on any other boss.
No, the first two were so incredibly, simple.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's only the third boss where I saw like Pint die a couple of times to a star AoE, and
that star AoE was great, dude. I love that fucking thing.
It's great. Yeah.
It's so good. Because you can't see it, right? Unless you're you have to like constantly be keeping your eye on that fucker the entire time.
And then you realize it's just that like one corner each side. It's like, oh, right. But then you've also got to predict where that's moving across the screen so that you don't just like cock block yourself into a wall and get hit twice.
It just happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened to me on Viper. Yeah.
I think the most like pointless little thing that I loved was the new duty pop up now that tells you when something's happening, like the little red thing that appears in your screen. It's so cool. I don't know why, but I love it. Yeah.
I saw it and I was like,
it's so fucking good.
I actually got concerned. I was like, what the fuck's happening? Am I supposed to do something right now? Yeah. It's like, oh fuck, something real big's about to happen. I don't know what the fuck it is though.
Other than that, I think the blacklist is probably one of the biggest things for a lot of people who have somebody that they don't want to see anymore, because they just immediately disappear as soon as you add them to that. The term list is good. Like you can censor out any word you want, so you can get rid of all of those people celebrating their nightlife at their club in Windsor Leominster immediately just by using terms.
You need more than 10 though, dude. They only give you 10.
You do need more than 10, but yeah. It's a start, right?
It is. And people who try to get around that shit with emotes and everything, you know, that's going to block it out. So they did a pretty good job with that. The 2-die stuff was a little bit overcomplicated, especially when I couldn't read a good bit of it. It took me a second to figure
Google
it out.
Lens.
Yeah.
Like, I just used
Google Lens helped it,
yeah. One of the people behind me, the staff was like, why don't you use Google Lens? I was like, okay, that's a really good idea. So I just held my phone up. I was like, okay, yeah, all right. And then I wrote down exactly what it said. I was like, right, that's what I need to put in the annotations. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be a little bit to get used to, because I mean, there's like a back button and there's a forward button. Like you go back a couple of options that you clicked on before.
The invert button though, that's so good.
Oh, the invert is perfect.
So you can be like, not only can you store things so that when you come to die another piece of gear, you can just load what you just did, which is amazing, by the way. I love that, where you can save like the preset of what you just did and just die it again exactly the same. But the fact that you can be like, what would it look like if it was silver on the other bit and red on the other bit, and you just press a button, it's like magic. Simple things like that, just really nice details. I like that.
Guys, invest in dies. Just invest in those dies right now, dude.
Do your Sky Builder scripts, get those up, you know, exchange those for as much gunmetal black as you can get.
Yeah,
because that's going to look amazing on leather.
Oh, equipment's just going to be like completely a whole nother thing, dude. Like it's just going to look, it's going to be so weird being able to change both of those colors. So that
makes me wonder how many things are going to be backdated though, like with the double dyed little dots.
Yeah,
I'm like, I hope it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Christ, man. Whoops, what about you, dude?
For what?
Just system stuff, things that you noticed there, like in the game while you were playing it, the quality of life things.
I really liked that warning thing in the dungeons. I thought was really nice. Sorry, I'm stretching.
It's okay.
Other stuff for systems? I honestly did not have enough time to look around those very much. I didn't even get time to look at the die system, personally, or the blacklist thing.
Yeah.
I
usually hunt for them.
I watched that through other people because I didn't have time to look.
I was like, oh, that looks cool. I wonder what that would have been like.
Those are the things that I like went and just like hunted for. I usually go through the menus every single time. The only thing that popped out was there is a face wear option, which I don't think there is right now. Right, that's due.
That's a separate thing for glasses, and some head scarves are going to be moved from head slot into it.
Yeah.
So that you'll be able to, you know, it's for people like myself who wear glasses in real life. They can make their character wear glasses, but still have a hat. Apart from Viera, right? Of course, you know.
And Hrothgar in various ones. Although I was kind of surprised how much of the AF gear helmets actually did go on the Hrothgar, so that's pretty cool.
It was just tiaras, though. That's not really the answer. Where's the big hood?
The Dragoon head and the Viper hood goes on, and the Dark Knight one went on completely.
On the head replaces, though.
Yeah, they're kind of replacers. You're right.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I mean, you had the Scholar hat.
That's tiny.
The Scholar hat is on there.
It's like the little Ladies' Day crown. It doesn't count. It's too small. It is cute. Yeah, it is cute.
On that, dude, like I had one of those moments where I saw the second boss in a dungeon. I was like, oh, I don't want to hit this guy, dude.
Oh,
because he has like a sleeping debuff on him too. And he's just like sitting there. He's literally named Drowsy, hanging out.
Yeah.
You're like, can we just walk past him? Why do we gotta kill this dude?
I just want him as a mount. That's usually what happens with these things. It's like, see a new model. Oh, that'd be a really good mount. You know, you can just hear people groaning behind you, like the Square Enix staff, like, please don't ask us for more mounts. Stop.
It's already in the game.
It's there. It's the asset.
It's the troll.
But it's not the same color.
Oh man, I didn't see too many other major system things that popped out for me, but like they are definitely putting little quality of life things in that they're not telling people about that we'll just start to discover as, I guess, when the patch notes pop up. You know, we can go through a lot of that stuff. I wanted to check the PvP stuff out, but none of that was available. And that just is kind of what it is. But
I'm almost glad PvP wasn't there because I really wanted to test it, and the moment I got there, I completely forgot. And people asked me about it when embargo lifted, and I was like, "Oh no, I completely forgot." And I'm so glad that it didn't matter because it wasn't there anyway.
PvP changes are down the line. I tried asking about it, you know, more so to light party stuff because like there's nothing going on for pre-mades for Crystalline Conflict or anything like that, and hopefully they will do something in the future. But yeah, they didn't like. They're not focusing on that right now. It's coming.
We need a team season. We need like duos or something.
The thing is, like the other thing they need to do besides team season is try to make it regional completely. So like when you queue in, you're going against everyone in the region. Because the problem that happened with team queues in the past was that no one would queue into it, right? And then when you did queue into it, it was the same team over and over again. And then it really turns into kind of like a win trading situation because one team's going to be way better than the other one, and they just farm points off the other one, right?
I mean, it's already like that as it is on EU, so it wouldn't make any difference over here.
Is that for solo queue as well?
Yeah. It's always the same people, and suddenly your team that queues in, if they get with the wrong side, they just basically don't press buttons. Yeah.
Oh, you got a lot of people who are griefing just because they're not on the team with people they want to play with.
Well, they're trying to get this person who's paid the money, obviously, to get as high as possible, trying to blast through the tiers. So they're basically, if they all queue at the same time, and if somebody like me queues in and they're on that team, and the other guy that they're being paid to boost is on the other, then people just stop pressing buttons on my team. They're just like, oh, what? Oh, no, I didn't press that button. Oh, no, I didn't use a shield.
Darn.
Yeah, oh no.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on?
You know what else they need to do for PvP? They need to re-release the old rewards for wolf collars already. I'm waiting.
They said they were going to do that. They did say they were going to do that.
Didn't they say like before, and like when they first unveiled the series and season system, they mentioned it too? I'm waiting.
With the Crystalline Conflict changes, they mentioned that, and we're still getting new rewards instead of the old ones. Like I don't understand, especially when at least on EU there was a lot of win trading for those top 100 rewards. So it makes I think it'd be fairer if the series added those mounts to it. But
I think
still waiting.
Kind of what we can expect is at least one patch, one time during every expansion, they put a really heavy focus on PvP, then just it falls into the background afterwards.
Yeah.
And so Stormblood, they changed the system completely for they made Feast, you know, back to when it would or no, that was Heavensward, they made Feast. Then they changed it all up in Stormblood. They rechanged the system completely. And they just kind of left that the way it was. They didn't put like a huge heavy focus on it after that. Then they went into Shadowbringers, and I think they forgot about it in Shadowbringers for the most part. I said we had Endwalker where they had one patch for Crystalline Conflict, and that kind of changed everything. And that they didn't put much more focus on it in after that, right? And so we're gonna have 7.1, and that's when we're gonna have our big PvP patch. They get one every expansion. They get one patch where you can get a lot of changes in. But we'll see what they decide to do. I mean, there's a lot of stuff with front lines they need to figure out. There's a lot of stuff just in general with large scale PvP. You know, I do want to ask you guys this. You had Q&A days, right? Like, or when you went, there was a Q&A? No Q&A? Oh, it was just
no, that wasn't at EU.
No Q&A.
Oh, okay.
We had a group Q&A.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so basically during the event, people were able to submit questions, and they would kind of pick which questions they would answer at the end of the day. And I mean, it wasn't a lot. Like, out of everyone on our day, it was like 6 questions. Whoops, I think you guys got like 9 questions or something, though, right?
Something like that, yeah. It was basically a way of them saying, hey, sorry you guys didn't get interviews. Here's your one shot for one question. If you really need one.
That's really cool. I like that.
I guess maybe they were just maxed at their peak for the EU side or something with those interviews. I don't know.
No idea.
That being said, though, I did try to put in some world race questions, but the PvP question only got picked. But But now that I was lucky that RPG Site got an interview and they asked him about the world race, so I didn't have to do it. It worked out. All right. Nice. So now I have to fucking bond to that.
Oh yeah, I did see that. It's very interesting. I hope it like results in something, you know.
In something.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't a lot they have to do. I think people are overthinking. They're like, oh, you got to fly everybody out so we can prove that nobody's cheating.
They're not going to do that, and they don't have to either.
They don't have to. I mean, if they have ranking for PvP, if they have ranking for Palace of the Dead or, you know, Deep Dungeon, it's so easy to throw that in for the world race. And all you gotta do is do timestamps. I mean, it's just as valid as it is for PvP. It's just as valid.
You mean
as
like ahead of the curve achievements, that sort of stuff from WoW, right?
I mean, you could do achievements, or you could just say these are the top 80 players for 10 teams, whatever. You could even do a top 100 or whatever, and these are the first 100 people who have cleared. And you know, you'd have 8 people all are in rank 1 or whatever, but you don't even have to put them in a team. You just fucking say
like the firmament rankings for Ishgard. Yeah, okay, that's cool.
I mean, it would it be hard? And like, because people are, if they're worried about like people abusing like in the world race, abusing add-ons and everything else, why do we have it for PvP? Why do we have these rankings for like other things in the game? Firmament. Why did we have it for Firmament? How many people bought it through that shit, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like it wouldn't be too like horrible to throw that in for the world race.
It's only fair, I think, you know, especially when we say things like the firmament and people blatantly did bot stuff, especially the gathering stuff. Come on, there's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way that all
of those numbers were insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the people had like the same name but with like an apostrophe as the last name before something else. I'm not naming the person's name, but on Chaos.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Whose name I won't name, but he's got like 6 characters in the top rankings for every job.
And they all simultaneously got the same scores at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
interesting.
What a gamer!
That's an amazing
very committed
technique. Yeah. Like, how are you doing this? But it's only fair, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just no reason not to. Like, there's people are overthinking it. It doesn't have to be. Square Enix just has to do some changes that would support the community that's out there for the world race, and that's it. Because it brings. I think it has likely the most attention on the game for an event for Final Fantasy XIV outside of official things, right? Where they're doing their own stuff at FanFest or something like that. All right. System changes. We loosely talked about jobs. I'm trying to make sure we hit like some of these core things before people run away. Okay, and then we can get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty stuff. You know what? This is actually a question. I've gotten like mixed comments about this, but the music overall that you guys have heard while actually at the event, what did you guys think about the music?
So good.
It's really
it was fantastic.
good.
Yeah, I loved it too, but apparently so many people feel like the jazz is out of place for the city. And they
really? I loved it.
I felt like it's fine.
It's so chill. Like I can imagine crafting there and just like falling asleep.
Well, at nighttime, it's a little bit more energetic during the daytime.
Yeah, but even in the day, it was like this fits.
It was like
vibe,
half of it. Half of it's like kind of slower jazz. I think during the daytime.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like half, and then it's like got a beat again. But I think the zone music I loved the most was actually I think it was Kozama Uka, because it was just very Latin, like Latin American. There's all the different percussion instruments. It was more of Soken's blessed touch. It really was. Like the dude has a Midas touch for music. It's fucking amazing, and the game looks amazing. It just
I think people were actually hoping that music was what the city music was going to be. I think that's what it was. They were just shocked that it wasn't that music in the city, is what I would think. But I mean, it gives the vibe of the city as it's like this kind of busy, like, you know, jungle party kind of, you know, place, right? And that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah, especially with the bazaars and the way that it all lights up at night as well, and it's just such a beautiful city. But it makes me really excited for Solution 9, though.
Solution 9 is just gonna be techno rave crap everywhere.
That's
Electric,
like incredible.
And the boss, like the neon signs with like the demons and stuff and the screenshots, and like the raid's gonna be like a tournament. Just all I think is like, what is it, Blade Runner? Oh, sorry, Whoops. Let me see if I can think of a movie in the last 10 years. Hold on.
Oh, that is actually a really tricky one.
That would be
like
Tron.
The sequel
Tron.
To Blade Runner?
Maybe.
You could go for that, right?
Yeah, the sequel of Blade Runner.
That counts.
Yeah, Tron could be a good one. I mean, it would be probably like that kind of atmosphere, like Daft Punk music. Maybe we could maybe see that. We'll see.
Yeah, well, we need a light cycle mount then. Now you've said Tron, like that has to happen. You know, we've got the SDS Fenrir. Just get rid of the wheels, make it hover.
Yeah. I hope we get some punky ass like Neo Future Tokyo punky ass Akira shit.
On. Oh yeah, the Akira motorcycle.
Yeah.
The housing items are going to be incredible as well. I want all of those set pieces, like the holographic stuff, like the advertisement boards.
Yeah. That's gonna be fucking amazing to go through, dude. I'm so fucking hyped for that. That has to be like the third-ish zone, I would think. Yeah.
Heritage found probably in that zone, no?
Yeah.
Is it? It's like a city floating above it, I think.
Yeah.
Like that.
You'd have to mimic
that's
sort
the place
of
covered in Levin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all the lightning everywhere. Yeah. Oh shit, dude. Okay, so the music, great, still good. People are just thrown off by the jazz. I guess they just weren't expecting it, even though it's good. The atmosphere everywhere felt really good too. Those two zones that you run around in, there's plenty of spoilers for anyone. You're watching a show about Media Tour where we're talking about our experience at Media Tour and going into zones. We're going to talk about the zones a little bit. Which have things that could be considered spoilers. But in the mountains, there's like claw marks everywhere, like fiery claw marks and flaming damage.
It just reminded me of Deathwing, like from
it does, days. Doesn't it? It really does.
Like Deathwing came from there through there and just fucked shit up, and then there's like craters everywhere with like fire elementals, and I was like, is this Cataclysm? What is going on here?
Yeah. There was that, and then there's some damaged buildings and damaged areas in the jungle area too. So my assumption is that like that crazy bird thing that they showed off went through both of these zones, just massacred. But I mean, that shit's too big. Those claw marks are huge, dude. They're the side of a mountain. Like, I don't know if the creatures they showed us would. I mean, that's like Bahamut-sized claw marks, right?
Yeah, that's why I said dragon, because there's like 3 very specific scratch marks on the one. Do you remember where there's like the mountain giants live in that weird village where I didn't realize they were aggressive until I landed there and I got an axe in the face? There's like an invisible wall, and then there's these like rice paddies that go around into a valley. And then there's scratch marks. That's definitely a dungeon entrance.
I can see that. Yeah, because I hit a wall. I was flying. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go look at this. And bam, we're gonna be birds running into windows all the fucking time. I swear to God. There's so many times I'm like, let me go check out these these huge waterfalls. They're so bam, just in the fucking wall, dude. That's the only sad part is like there's so many areas where the background just kind of blends in so well to the environment. You just hit these invisible walls.
I
was
all the sad about that, actually. The ability to not go through the waterfalls. There's just a wall before the waterfall. I was like, that's a real missed opportunity. I want to go behind there and see if there's a cave with treasure, like Zelda style.
Shit, dude. There was in the mountain area, there was also this little cave that had these murals and stuff that were all over it. I went through it, but my footage wasn't recording. I was like, God damn it. There's a couple times where that happened where like, because there's on our OBS, when you turn it on and turn it off, there's a delay before it lets you turn it back on, like 8 seconds or something like that, or a few seconds. And so I would hit it really quick to kind of break up my footage and not realize it prevented me to start recording because there is a delay on it.
Yeah, those murals very heavily reminded me of the other murals we saw with Emmett. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The murals.
Heidelin.
Yeah, Heidelin and Zodiac ones. Yeah, they were really close.
I had a couple theories about those too. What did you guys think they were showing?
No, I didn't see it enough to be able to have a theory. So you gotta tell me yours.
What's your theory? Yeah.
My theory is that those murals show the history of the area and, most importantly, the previous winners of the tournament that we're assisting Wooklamat in.
Oh.
And in the centerpiece of all those murals appears to be one figure, who's obviously somebody important in each one of those, but surrounding them is the portrayal of an event that happened while they were in charge. So like one of them was like a bunch of graves, right? Those big graves that we saw in that area, and then also like some crying eyes of like the giant what are they, like the trolls? I forget their names. The big troll guys.
I have no clue. I can't remember them.
The giant guys.
They're just mountain giants, aren't they? Like
yeah, I think
the
so.
red guys.
Yeah, there's basically a bunch of their graves and then like their eyes crying on the sides of it, and then there's like one big guy in the middle. I think was probably a giant.
Mm.
And if the other murals are something similar to that, but with different events happening, and then maybe the one that was gold, some people were like, that kind of looks like Bayergot.
Oh,
which, like, I kind of agree with, but probably isn't. It's probably a Mumblejaw. We'll see. I bet you that's like level 93 MSQ.
that does sound believable.
Almost certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? We're gonna get through all Solution 9 before level 95, right? We're gonna get through all these fucking zones and everything before level fucking 95, and then we're just gonna have this whole fucking second story that we have to go through that we weren't expecting after that. They do this every single time. Like when we fought Zodiac at level 83 or something, right?
Yeah,
I'm super curious to see what the hidden zone is this expansion, because every expansion's hidden zone is fucking crazy, right? And then this expansion, we've got Solution 9 as one that's been announced pre-release. So it's like, what are they going to do for the sixth secret zone?
Yeah,
I think it's going to be quite cool.
We've been to space. We've been back in time.
Now, how do you one up
universe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how they fucking do it, dude. I don't know what they can do.
I think we're gonna find some elegant shit in that mountain.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we had Amarat, right? For one of them in the final. Jesus, dude. Like they've done some really intense shit. I don't know. Man.
Unpredictable. Very unpredictable now. It's exciting.
I'm fucking hyped as shit, dude. I'm so hyped for this fucking expansion. It's in what, 2 weeks? 2.5 weeks?
I'm excited
like
for the field instance when they posted on the special site that it's basically the Bermuda Triangle. That has me hooked.
What, they put that on a special site?
They?
Yeah, if you go to the special site and go on to if you go to the bottom under content, is a paragraph right at the bottom, and is read it. Read it to your audience. It's about sailors getting lost and dying.
Oh
yeah, it's really good.
Where does it say that? What is it says open world something or something?
I think is it under gameplay? Chat probably knows.
Gameplay. New dungeons, cosmic exploration.
Right at the bottom, like it's a tiny little paragraph. You could blink and miss it. Let's see gameplay. Is it gameplay?
I don't think it's in gameplay, dude.
Oh, yeah.
No, it is in gameplay. It's just underneath cosmic exploration. It says new field operations. Okay. Yeah.
The Shades Triangle.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
you know what?
Or is it?
Shades Triangle. Let's check.
Yeah, that's a good
Hold
idea.
on. Let me check. Where's that?
Where is that?
Probably checking my map out here. Hold on. Let me look at it. I think it's like...
Captain, I think we're lost.
Oh, shit. You know what? Are we lost? Fuck, dude. Let me...
It's probably this bit that's covered in, fog, conveniently. Probably.
Let me get our direction, our sense of direction back. Okay? Hold on. All right.
It's such a swag compass. I love that thing. It's so good. Yeah.
I didn't know what this little thing on the side did for a while, dude.
It's to locking it in.
Yeah. So I don't use compasses. I didn't know that, dude.
You've never used a compass?
Not like a real bit, like on my phone, or like one of those stupid like things you get in cereal boxes or something. Never like a real badass compass here like this, right?
Yeah, we had to do that in school. I don't know. Is that an age thing? I don't know.
I guess maybe you get lost in Europe more. I don't know.
I don't know. you definitely can. Yeah.
No, if it's an age thing, it would. I'm probably older than you. I think I'm older than you.
Yeah, you probably are. I'm only 35, so yeah.
Oh, I'm 37. You know, not too far.
Oh, it's not too bad.
Not too bad.
Not too far. Yeah.
Fucking grandpas, dude.
Yeah, definitely at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the loot that they gave us was fucking so good.
Oh yeah.
It was super
good.
kind of them.
Yeah. Like this backpack I'm gonna take to like every fan fest, every like game event that I go to now, because it's just so solid.
It's really well made. It's not just like, you know, it's not a promise of a canvas bag from a certain other developer. It's actually a real, you know what I mean? Like it's a real thing.
When they're handing us the bags and ours, it's like, wow, we finally got the file.
I expected there to be a helmet inside and everything, you know.
Yeah. Jesus, dude.
Oh,
the notebook was like, it's neat and okay. It's not like anything too crazy. The notebook in the collector's edition is like fucking amazing.
I love that. The notebook. That's what I used for this media tour. That's how I took my notes and everything. Yeah. So I'm excited to use the Dawntrail one for next year.
Shit, dude. Like what was it? When they gave it to us at the end of the event, they were like, you can't let anyone see shit from this at all. It can't make the light of day at all until embargo's over.
We weren't told that. We were just like, yeah, you're not like. I don't exactly know.
They said don't post it on social media. If I
that's
rightly,
it. But we could wear. We were wearing a hoodie, and I've been wearing a hoodie around, you know, before the embargo lifted in supermarkets. I was doing my shopping in the hoodie.
I'm sure that's fine because, like, who's gonna snitch, right? And this is the perfect segue into. You guys saw Jason Miller's tweet, right?
Yeah.
I messaged. By the way,
the media tour.
I messaged.
We saw that tweet, and everybody in silence was just like, "Ooh,
because they said you can't wear that sweater." It was cold as shit actually in LA at night, and I was like, "Man, I could use a sweater right now." I wasn't expecting this. I was like, "Well, fuck, dude." And then I saw that post from Jason Charles Miller, and I was like, "Hey, you know," because I think the staff had like a blue version of the one that we got, and then I don't know if your staff had blue sweaters or not, but
nah, they were all wearing black.
Okay.
With the logo on it.
Yeah, like I saw that, and then we had the black ones. I was like, "Hey, Jason, what color was that?" He was like, "It was black." I was like, "All right." All right, I know for sure someone from the media tour was like, "Fuck that, I'm just gonna wear my sweater wherever I want." So I don't know who it was, but it was
you
really
may never
funny.
know.
Yeah, I could probably find
the guy
out.
Who left after 30 minutes.
Yeah, I will say, like, there was a nerve-wracking moment when I was leaving and I was going to the airport, and I was sitting there, and so I had my FanFest backpack and I stuffed this backpack in the FanFest backpack, so it was it worked. It was fine, but I didn't want to show it.
How did you get the poster thing in there? Like the cardboard tube?
I mean, it was in the bag.
It
fits. It was all in the bag for us.
I'm terrible at packing, clearly. I couldn't get that thing in there no matter what. No way.
Well, I put it in this bag, and so you saw just the FanFest bag, and I was going and eating some fish and chips or whatever from like the airport, right? And it was on the side, and someone noticed, like, "Oh, cool Final Fantasy bag." I'm like, "Fuck." These guys hopefully have no understanding of like the media tour and everything else. They just know Final Fantasy XIV, right? And I was just like, "Yeah, it's cool, huh?" And I just ended that conversation and just kept eating my food. I didn't know how to fucking respond to it because I didn't want to like get caught saying something outside the embargo to some people who recognize Final Fantasy XIV just randomly at an airport. The other thing happened with the secret lab chair, right? And so I got that early. I was fortunate enough to get one of those, and there's something wrong with the package, right? All my fucking name, all my information is all over this box, and it's all over everything. And so I had to actually go to the shipping company warehouse, FedEx. I had to go to their place, right? And I just picked it up because I couldn't deliver it to where I told them to deliver it to. And when I'm talking to the guy on the phone, he's like, "Oh, you're so lucky to get this chair and all this stuff." I'm like, this chair isn't public yet. And he's like talking about how he's played Final Fantasy forever, and like he's still currently playing it. How like
what are the chances?
Back order. I'm like, shit, dude. And so I did everything I could not to make a big deal out of it, and just like said, "Yep, got it in chair, real cool. I got this chair, you know, that's existed already before in the past." And just drove the fuck off, and just hope that guy completely forgot about that experience afterwards. But it was real awkward because it was another like big NDA embargo thing that I was dealing with, where I can't really say shit about it while I have it. There's a lot of people who play Final Fantasy out in the world now, guys. I didn't realize it. They're all over the place. Running into them a lot more than I used to. But all right, well, like, oh shit, dude, we had so many just experiences outside the event. That was crazy too. Like we had this Uber driver who I swear is a serial killer.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, it just started talking to us about how these horrible. He was saying all this like in this like, you know, when someone talks and you get a vibe. They're like misogynistic or there's something wrong, right? Just in the way they word things a little bit like off. Yeah. And so I'm sitting in the car with like Zeppela, Crystal, and everyone else, and he just starts talking about how he hates these like past people that he was like working with in there. They're just saying these horrible things about him because they gave him 1 star for all this shit. And then Zeppela like gets out her phone and she's like, "Oh yeah?" And she just starts typing everything this dude says in the phone. And we just like start talking to this Uber driver about all of his experiences and how he's like had this horrible like just come to LA, try to be a comedian, screenwriter, and he's driving Uber now, and just all this other fucking shit where I'm just like waiting to get out of the car, like holding up the conversation as friendly as I can. I'm like getting out and Uber pops up, he's like, "Rate your driver." I was like, what if I just fucking hit this 1 star button? How crazy would that have been? I didn't do it. I gave him 5 stars.
It's worth it for the bit.
I almost would have done it for the bit, but I just gave him 5 stars, gave him a good tip, and just went on my way. Because that guy sounded like he was just going to like pop at any second. But yeah. And we went back to the hotel room and we hung out with a lot of creators that night and just kind of like drank whiskey or bourbon with Sly in his room and just had a good like few hours after the event to hang out. It was nice. Not with Woops, because that dude fucking left. That's all right. Okay. Woops, did you guys have any big hangouts or anything for Day 1 crew? Whoops, are you there?
Ooh.
Did Whoops leave? Whoops? No, he probably fucked.
Oh, he's BRB. He said restroom. I just
Oh, did he? Oh, it was in Discord. Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
He waited until you were about to talk to him and then went BRB, okay?
Nice. Fucking nice, dude. All right, nice. That's all right. Well, what about EU? Do you guys have any cool stories outside of the event itself?
Other than, I think it was Sarah Jane, as chat also said, like nearly got into a very bad situation because when we got to the Berlin airport, they were sorting out that we were only supposed to talk to people in high-vis jackets. They were in charge of getting you a legitimate taxi. And I believe someone tried to, like one of the random people outside of that, tried to invite them into a different kind of taxi that was not legit. And it's a good job that she didn't go in said taxi, because there is all sorts of kidnapping and horrible things that go on.
I actually didn't fucking like know too much about that until like I did a little bit of traveling, like going to Paris, I think, a while back, and other stuff. Like, you got to be real careful about that shit.
It's real scary, yeah.
Because there's just people waiting at the airport, right? Waiting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're waiting to pounce. They just see a number on your head, basically.
Yeah, and they can be quite aggressive too. Like, they'll grab your bag and be like, "Yeah, let me take you to the taxi," kind of thing, you know.
That's scary as fuck, dude.
Yeah. Aside from that, though, we had like drinks in the hotel bar most nights, didn't we?
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah,
it was very chill.
Good.
Got to have some nice conversations. Yeah, it was lovely.
Did you guys? Did
very
anybody
low key
really recognize each other at all? Because I know a lot of you guys don't like use your cams or anything. How'd you even like meet up? Like, did you meet up before the actual event or not until the event?
Well, we were all in the same hotel, right?
Yeah.
So, and we went for dinner together like 20 minutes after the last group of people arrived at the hotel. So we all kind of got introduced to each other and got to know each other then.
Okay.
They also tried to group us into taxis as well, so that
we basically had it on easy mode because we got the introduction done for us, and then we could just kind of talk from there.
Okay.
I'm back. What's up?
Yo.
I was just gonna ask if you guys did any fucking hangout or anything for day one crew.
I said I was going to use the restroom.
I don't look at Discord, dude. I'm not looking at it. It's fine. I know. I just fucking didn't see it. But yeah, no. The day one crew. Did you guys like go out and do stuff before you went out and went to the event, or was it all after the event?
We had a whole day. It was awesome.
Shit.
I landed and I went to the hotel, and like as I was pulling in, Arthur's and Zeno pulled up behind me, and I was like, "Oh hey, what's up?" Like, "Yo, what's the move?" And then they're like, "I don't know, we're just gonna go to the pier and stuff and hang out." Okay, so we just went and got some food, hung out. We ran into Liquid Max.
Yeah.
And he took us out to dinner once we met up with a couple other people. And yeah, that was basically it. It was a good night.
No, that was pretty cool too. Like, there's a couple of LA people that are like residents out there that I wish I could have spent time with. But just there wasn't a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, in general to do that. But yeah, Arthur's and like Zeno are out there for like a week, right? So it was a different scenario for them. But yeah, I know you guys went to like the Liquid headquarters too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the whole like crazy shit over there. But
I've been there quite a few times because I used to work in that area on a different esports team.
Did you?
So yeah. No, I just lied.
No, like I mean, like I did. It's something I didn't know about you. Whoops, I didn't know you did like a lot of esports stuff.
I was in the army for 9 years too.
Okay. Oh, you're actually lying. Okay, just making sure you're all lying. All right, yeah, just making sure. I can't tell. I'm like,
curious.
9 years. You're like, yeah, you're not even old enough to have been in for 9 years. Yeah, no. All right, cool. Yeah, fair.
Okay.
I don't fucking know. Whoops. Jesus. You could have been a famous esports player.
The Liquid facility is really cool.
Yeah.
They got a whole like, I guess you would call like a logistics area, business area, and then they've got like a whole bunch of different like PC rooms, and it's all fancy and set up. They got like big glass doors and meeting rooms and merch rooms. It's cool.
They have a merch shop?
No.
Oh, well.
It's a private facility, so.
All right, fine. That's it. I didn't go. No.
Could have.
If I would have flown out early, yeah. There's just no way, dude. Like the time that like I had available to me was dedicated to the exact window of going out to the event. Other than that, I would have been. I just would have been able to make time to do it. Fucking, I loved it though. I loved it. This whole experience has been great. You know, I do think that in general versus like how it's gone in the past, like the leaks weren't nearly as bad as they have in the past. You know, the negative side of some of this stuff wasn't as bad as it has been. I mean, we were in Little Tokyo, so that was pretty cool in general because we were able to go out and experience some of that stuff in the city.
That's cool.
But nothing too crazy. All right, well, what else, guys? We're doing pretty good for time. We're making time going through all this shit. Was there anything major you guys wanted to jump into that we didn't talk about yet for the media tour? Don't all talk at once now.
I'm trying to think if there's anything we didn't talk about.
We didn't already talk.
I mean, we haven't
about
gone into like a high analyst of all the jobs, but that would be a very long fucking show. It'd be it'd be insane to talk about it all.
You're not going to get much out of that at the moment.
Yeah. And those are going to be like, I'll have to do pinpoint shows in the future, caster shows, tank shows, and stuff like that.
I think once full expansion's out and there's content to play them with and together with other jobs, that's when it's going to be important to talk about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially level 100 content as well, because you like not having access to your full suite of everything. I mean, the dungeon was only level 91, so
yeah. I mean, you got 92. I think 92 is where you're at with it. It's 91 dungeon,
scaled.
But
yeah.
So yeah, there's some stuff for Pictomancer that I was trying to do. I'm like, all right, well, I guess some of my buttons aren't working. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was
a lot missing. Yeah.
I think when it comes to job design as well, like a lot of stuff's going to change, because I know there are a lot of little things on a lot of the jobs. For example, the healers, the potencies of like Macrocosmos and Numa and Toxicon and all that are broken, but it's like it's an irrelevant conversation, right? Because it's going to be fixed for launch. There's no way it won't be. So I say, touch wood, surely it'll be fixed for launch.
I mean, like,
there's no way it'll be like that.
It's not going to be perfect at launch, dude. There's going to be shit that's going to be wrong. It's just how it is, and they fix it. And it's just the expansion life cycle. That's you do new stuff. Some of it isn't perfect. You fix it, and then you run into it. And even by Savage release, there'll probably be a couple of things that need to be fixed. It's just what it is. But a lot of the obvious shit should be knocked out. Like the Picto AoE stuff should be hopefully knocked out, because that's super obvious at this point.
Yeah, by the time we get to 0.05, all the jobs should play well. The potency should be fixed. It'll be fine. So it's like one of those things that's a really interesting conversation on release. But now it's like, just how do they play? Are they interesting? Are they fun? If so, yeah, great. You know.
Yeah. I'm hoping there's a lot of high movement shit. I'm really hoping the raids have tons of fucking high movement, because I mean, we're getting dashes and all this other crap on all these jobs. Black Mage can move their ley lines at least once now, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that support heavy movement fights, but we won't know until we see it. That wasn't in the build, guys. We couldn't do a raid fight. Sorry. Did you guys do any of the S ranks or A ranks or anything?
Nah, we did do some of the A ranks, yeah.
Yeah, we did the A ranks.
I ignored them. I was like, fuck it. I got other stuff to do, but yeah.
One of the A ranks has a mechanic, which is it's a forced march with an in and an out, right? So you obviously that's like a really simple mechanic, but the thing that I liked about it was that after you do the forced march in and out, it then gets a buff that is like, stay in, you little fuck, for 8 seconds, or stay out, you little fuck, for 8 seconds. And the range of the in and out is completely different to the in and out telegraph they showed earlier. And I got you baited by it really bad when we did it. And then it was killing everybody as well, like just nuking people, because everybody else hadn't caught onto it as well.
And then the other A rank was basically, it'll put a circle around it, and if you stand in that, you're going to dance for a few seconds, and then it's going to one by one kill you by pecking you to death. Then it will dash in a certain direction, and then it'll put a circle around itself again, but then the direction that it faces, it will then just annihilate anyone in that direction. So it's just a case of stepping the other side. It's a really simple mechanic, but it's shared by some of the A ranks that are already in the game, but it's just like so much death. So many media people dead. It was great.
It made me excited for S ranks on launch, because the S ranks on launch are absolute fucking chaos, especially when you get people that like, in Elpis, I can't remember if it's an A rank or S rank, the guy that spins and does the cleaves. And when you early pull it, so it doesn't get insta-killed, people just get cleaved repeatedly and die, and it's a massacre. I can't wait for next expansion. It's gonna be good.
Oh man!
Especially without everybody having flying as well. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I like that first few weeks of an expansion where people are trying to do things that are above their pay grade, and they just get annihilated for it, and then they can't fly back, and then seeing the shout chat, it's something poetic about it. It's something you just look forward to, don't you? Really, in this weird sort of sadistic way, but at the same time, it's just part of the game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I am unfortunately going through. I have a goal with the expansion. It's the first time I'm doing this. Is I am going to level Pictomancer and skip every cutscene, story, everything, and just level it as fast as I can, and have to go back and review it later.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a weird experience, but I'll be there flying around and just fucking with the people leveling up and stuff like that. It's my plan afterwards, while waiting for extreme parties to fill up, I guess, with a few other people who did it.
I think the first month of an expansion is just kind of a bit of a magical time because everybody's experimenting, everyone's playing very actively. The people haven't grown tired from having played too much and gotten like very negative about things. Everybody's just very positive. So I'm just looking forward to it, honestly.
I mean,
it's gonna be
the
good.
Fate trains as well, like doing all the special Fate achievements and things.
And not everybody knows every fucking job, right? Because people are leveling up a handful of the jobs they want to level up first, and so the people who are like at 100 in those jobs will be, feel a little bit more like they're a specialist in a way at that job versus people who are playing other jobs. So you feel a little bit more bound, I guess, to your choices, and it feels good. But yeah, man, when you guys were talking about the A rank and S rank, I just had a flashback to the Endwalker one, because it was funny. I was in the group with Asmongold, and he was like kind of learning the mechanics and calling the shots and stuff in the group for it. And people were just like, die, go to the city, run back, and one person had to be alive and keep it alive, and we were just chipping away at it because only so many people were attacking it. Everyone else was doing other shit. And so we just barely would kill it because people would just get juked or murdered by some mechanic or something and just run back. Oh yeah, and chat, the DDoS shit, dude.
Oh god.
Yeah, they have to figure that out in the next couple of weeks. I am a little concerned about it because I don't know who's doing it, but they just got a lot of fucking money to fuck around with. I don't know. It's weird.
For what gain though? Like if they're not gonna say what their demands are, like typically in old, as you know, like from other MMOs, typically it'd be like a script kiddie messing around for a short amount of time, and he'd be like, and then it'd be found out and then put behind bars or whatever. But like typically, if you're gonna DDoS something, have a statement of why you're doing it, even if it's anonymously. But no one has said anything, so you're not going to gain anything. You're just going to annoy people for no reason. And if you think people are going to stop playing the game, no.
Oh, eventually it has to stop, right?
Yeah.
So
I hope they've got those cloud servers that they tested up and running. We still haven't had any real feedback on how that went. Like how was that from a Square Enix side? Are they going to be using those as like temporary? Oh look, you can go on here when the other one's being, destroyed. How is that?
I don't know. I wish there was a little more communication because Cloud Server kind of came out of nowhere to me. Like I wasn't expecting them to do it. I wasn't anything, and they did the test, and then it's just kind of gone now. And we're like, well,
yeah,
it'd be nice to do it. I mean, the only other thing they have actively going is the cross region travel with Oceanic, right? And they haven't really talked about the next steps with that either. So I don't know what their plans are. Although I think cross-region is a mistake. But
really?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's nice, but the big problem that comes in... So you guys see this already on EU, and we see it over at NA. And it really comes down to Party Finder being the biggest concern that I have with it. Because right now, Chaos raids on Light. And all NA raids on Aether in Party Finder. You have to go over there, and you lose a lot of functionality of your data center doing that. So it's cool. Like, I don't care. I'm from Aether. I don't give a fuck, right? I can do whatever I want. but a lot of people who have to actually like want to do other things in the game can't do it if they want to do Party Finder. They have to transfer over and lose, get like this watered down version of the gameplay, right? And so there's that. Then there's like the latency latency while like the people who already do it, like there's NA people who go and play on EU, vice versa. They get VPNs, they get other stuff going. If you just have the ability just to go over there, and you're just a regular player who doesn't give a fuck, you're just going over there, you're not going to put a VPN up, so you're going to go in with like the shitty ping and everything else and annoy the hell out of other people. I think that could be potential issues that need to be fixed too, right? These are the things I'm thinking about. I mean, the only other thing that could be a mess is just like the cultural differences and like the different data centers and how they function, but I think that would melting pot and it won't really matter at a certain point. But the latency, people being like not disrespectful, I don't know what it is, just not being in a position where they're caring about doing it, right?
It depends what content you're talking about them doing.
It's all raid. All I care about is raid, right? And so when you're doing like casual stuff, it's great. Going and visiting house parties, going and doing like other stuff, none, like the latency, none of that stuff really matters. It's all fine. But most of what I'm thinking about all deals with Party Finder and raiding, which is a big chunk of the game, right?
Yeah.
Realistically, one thing they could do, because we know that it was asked in one of the interviews about like having like a region-wide PF or something like that, until those are properly implemented the way they want them to be, they could just make it so that you can't go raid on other DCs. You can visit, but you can't raid until we fix it, and when it's fixed, then you can. And that would be a stopgap that would kind of make the issue okay in the short term, you know?
Yeah. Just have it as a toggle. Yeah.
I mean, I've thought about going to Oceanic to do my leveling experience, but I don't know. I'll probably just
we're getting backfill servers in EU, I think, right? We're getting Shadow DC on Dawntrail release. You can't create new characters on it, but you can visit it. So they've got these worlds that exist specifically for you to go visit when your world's too congested for Dawntrail release, which is kind of interesting even, bloody hell.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
But anyways, Melon, you could tell me your opposing thoughts to what I was saying too.
Oh no, I just think that like even some, I don't know. I think completely getting rid of all combat stuff wouldn't be, you know, like you can do plenty, like you could do alliance raids. I mean, we were doing a lot of old stuff like unsynced. We were doing like E12S. That was really like the point where we started to see issues on Oceanic from playing on EU. But then when you traveling from, let's say you were traveling from Chaos to Ether, you're not going to have the same latency. It's not going to be as big. It's only going to be what, 200 ms. Traveling to Oceanic, it's like over 500.
It used to be fine when the servers were in Canada. I mean, it's not too bad. Like right now, I play on EU. And VPNs do matter, by the way. If people don't, there's different ways of VPNs. One's privatizing, the other part is handling how the pathing goes to the servers, and that changes your connection and makes it stable for any ignorant stuff that's being said about that really quick. I just want to be very clear. VPNs do make a difference. But yeah, the thing is, when you have those high pings, you just have to make sure you correct those connections. When you're going into it, you can make 200 work, you can make 150 work, and you just have to move a little early. You have to know what's going on. You can't just go over there and just be like, well, fuck, you know, I'm just gonna come over here with a shitty connection and hope things work out. You just have a bad experience, and the people you're with will have a bad experience too.
Maybe the limitation is then specifically that you have like some kind of flag where you can't create a group, and if you join a group, it tells them that you might be somebody that's you know, has high ping, and you can say yes or no.
Yeah, I think the biggest issues would be players going to like the JP region and back and forth. That's where you'd have, because then you have a communication issue in there as well. Most of the other regions are all like English based, except for some exceptions over on the EU side, right? but most of it is it's centered around like English for a communication language. That's not the same in JP. There's already the battling between Oceanic versus like JP Groups 2 and Party Finder when that was going on before they even put Oceanic servers in. But still going on because not everyone's using the Oceanic servers and stuff like that, and they're staying.
Hardly anyone's using Oceanic. Yeah, they're all still on Tonbury because it just works. It's got a better scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you spent 10 years building your community on a server, you're not just gonna hop to a new one just because it exists, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
So,
all right. So, I mean, like, we'll see. I mean, this is a media tour stuff. What is this stuff that's going to affect me? This is stuff
maybe we're yapping too much about this.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know. In summary, the media tour went pretty well. There's a couple things that I would change. I'd probably try to make it a de-embargo, like put some exceptions in there so people can at least kind of organize and communicate while going out there and tackle it a little bit better, instead of just being surprised when you get there about who's showing up, things like that. I would probably have that changed up. And if they're not going to let people say anything before the embargoes lift, don't tell the public when media tour is happening.
Yep.
And where.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, those things. So I would appreciate it if the embargo is going to be tight to the point that you can't say anything to anyone at all, then announcing the location and the timeline it's happening is a mistake as well.
I think they'd gain a lot of benefit if they just went, hey, here's a lodestone of all of the North American creators going, and here's the EU creators.
I think so too.
If you want to have one of your questions answered, feel free to put it in. Like, they could have like a form system, and then it'd be up to the creator if they wanted to use any of those. You could like field questions automatically from Square Enix. They could do the work for you basically, instead of going, right, you're not allowed to talk to anybody or ask anyone. It was so awkward. Like, I was trying to get a guess who was going, and I remember sending you a message, Rinon, going, hey,
yeah.
I can't remember exactly what part. I was
very awkwardly dancing around it. Like, how much can I say?
I don't suppose you also might be going.
I don't suppose you're going to a birthday party next week by any chance, are you?
No, like the messaging I would put out there sometimes is like, hey, look, I'm traveling for business this day. If you want to make a trip out while I'm out here, you're not too far away. We can meet up and eat dinner or something, right? Fucking shit, dude. I don't know. There's a couple things. The thing is, I understand why they want to have that too, because again, they're trying to block the public from harassing the people who are going.
Yeah.
I
think like the logical train of thought is maybe the reason leaks happened is because people found out John Final Fantasy went to the media tour and he got asked 1,000 times for information and he cracked. So like maybe that's what they think,
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that train of thought that like if they don't know who's going, if the public doesn't quote unquote know who's going, then they won't ask them 1,000 times for information. But unfortunately, that's not really how it works, because you can tell who's going for the most part, even if they don't say anything, and you still get the questions. Like even me, someone who's not been before and probably wasn't expected to go by a lot of people, I got a lot of people like DMing me questions and stuff like that. So like you still get it, but it does impede your ability to collect information and to prepare sufficiently, because this is a game that's so dense and so filled with different niches that it's impossible to know everything yourself. So if you want to really provide content for other people, you basically have to community source some of your information or some of your questions, and you just can't do that if you're under embargo.
Yeah. I will say, like, the way I handle this in most cases now is I just tell everybody I'm going to lie to you one way or another. All right. So if you're asking me about it, if I'm going, not going, I'm going to lie about it. You can ask me and you can assume so, but I'm going to tell you the exact same bullshit if I wasn't going. And that's the only way that I can handle it with NDAs and stuff, is just make sure people know that because there's this thing, right, where if you're a person who is not going to lie about it or anything, you're going to say things differently when people ask you versus Because you can flat out say, "Oh no, I'm not going. I'm not going. No, no, no." But if someone asks you, be like, "Ah, nah," you know, you dance around a little bit, then it's obvious, all right?
I felt bad lying, so whenever somebody asked if I was going, I'd go, "Oh, if only that would be nice," huh? And then just moved on instead of saying no.
Yeah. Fuck. But yeah, I think that's the only major change I would say for that, and to give NA their fucking folders, dude, man. Yeah.
I wanted the folder.
It was cool, and I was like, man, it'd be so awesome to have that folder, dude. And then I just saw it everywhere, all over the EU stuff, and I was like, I hate these. Yeah, all the creators.
It is a good folder, though. It is a really good folder. Do you want to see it again?
You can show it, sure, yeah.
You want to see the folder again? Hold on.
Yeah,
there we
go. Nice
no,
it has a logo on it.
Oh,
it's invisible. Wow.
Okay, okay. Well, it's invisible. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's really nice.
All right. Well, I guess we're at a good point to where we can kind of wrap up stuff, but I will, want to dive into deeper topics on future shows and everything, but I figured this would be a good time. And sorry, Rinon, Meoni, for inviting you so late, but again, because of the embargo.
Oh, brother, I'm nocturnal anyway, it's fine.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. It was just so hard to plan around it. But I wanted to have a conversation, because it is interesting to know the difference between NA and EU and just share experiences and everything. When we go through all this stuff. And, Whoops, of course, I appreciate you jumping on too, man.
Yeah.
But before we go out and we leave, there's nothing else you guys want any last words about Media Tour we skipped over? I'm assuming not, yeah?
I have one quick thing that's interesting to chew on.
Okay.
This is going to be the first time jobs are released with a starting level higher than the lowest level ultimates in the game.
Oh my, I never thought of that.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Uwu and Yukob, speaking of those, are going to be 30 levels under.
Okay.
Max level.
Did anyone actually? Sorry to derail your finale. Did anyone happen to get in an interview another question once again about Unreal Ultimates? Because I feel like it needs to be asked every 2 years, or they'll forget.
I can't remember. I feel like it did get asked, but I didn't check all the interviews out there.
Yeah, I haven't checked all of them yet.
I basically watched all of them. Nobody asked.
But no.
Zeno did ask about the eye level sync, and he admitted, he was like, "Oh yeah, one guy made that back in Final Fantasy XI, and when A Realm Reborn came out, we kind of just used the same thing, and we haven't touched it since."
Oh,
so we'll probably go fix that. And we were like, "Oh my god!" So
does that mean we can get like an actual working min-eye level? That would be so good. That would be so good.
Yeah. Okay. Apparently, Zeno asked about the Ultimate Unreal thing and said it was Savage, but not for Ultimates. They could do that kind of stuff. Well, I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, we are on like one of the hardest Unreals currently with Thornton. It's so painful to do that every week. Sorry, I was about to hit another tangent. I don't need to get into it. I was just going to say how people were in level 80 gear doing the Unreal the other day. But anyways, guys, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being so amazing. Give me your time. I'm glad this is finally over. I'm so glad that I can talk about this stuff again and not have to dance around this topic anymore and be awkward about it in any way. So it was nice to be done with that and move on to the next thing. Are you guys going to make any more videos like about Media Tour stuff now? Or
not after today. I realized I had a minute left, so I used that up today, and then that's it, because we were limited to 45 minutes. Yeah,
it's worded incorrectly, so you guys know. You get 45 minutes per video.
What?
No, that's also not true.
That's what I was told.
It's 45 minutes of your recorded footage used. You can do as much time as you want, though.
Yeah, that's what I got told as well. You get 45 minutes of recorded footage.
Minutes you can talk over that for as long as you want.
Yeah, that's what I did. I used screenshots and looping, so I've got like an hour and 40 minutes of stuff.
Yeah, I
like,
literally
okay.
just timed it all on a timeline, all of the footage that I used, and was like, okay, that's just to 43, I think it was at the time. And then I was like, right, I need to make videos from this.
That being said, they should specify exactly what they mean, because I emailed them that exact question. They said yes, as long as there's no more than 45 minutes of the recorded footage.
Let me read this real quick. So to answer your questions, it would be 45 minutes max per video. Preview footage is capped at the 45-minute mark. So I guess like maybe there's still some room for confusion there.
It's so confusing.
That sounds like both. That sounds like what we said, and also you can't have a video itself more than 45 minutes as well, right?
Yeah,
because those are two separate points. No.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think about it at all. I just made as many videos and threw it out there, and I'm sure it worked out fine.
Touch wood.
I mean, if people were putting out there and like not censoring the Japanese text on there, I'm sure it's okay.
Right. I think they just didn't want somebody to upload like all the clips that they got back to back in like a 9-hour video.
They didn't want to.
That's what I think as well. They didn't want one guy to hit record, play the media tour for 7 hours, and then upload it when he got home. You know,
exactly.
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, they wanted to put in these kind of restrictions just to make sure people weren't going to be super lazy and just throw the full footage up there. And so they're mostly lenient, and they understand content creation. It needs an exception here or there, and they're not going to like penalize you unless if you do something egregious, right? So all right, well, cool. Yeah, and thanks Square Enix for inviting us, dude. Like that was fantastic. Yeah, I'm glad you know, a lot of people who went definitely wanted to go for sure. I think there's probably a handful of people who still wanted to go that didn't get invited, but like they're doing pretty good about reaching out to content creators and still in the Final Fantasy XIV community. That like June and both were like, I had no fucking clue they would invite me. I thought it was a scam email, right? And so still reaching out to like some creators out there and giving people a chance to go out there and make stuff. It's cool. But all right, well, let's go ahead and do our closing thoughts and words and everything, and where people can find everybody and all that great stuff. And I'll start with Woops.
Hello,
Mr. Woops. Tell everybody where they can find you, and any last little bits that you want to say before wrapping up the show.
I'm Woops, and I stream at Woops, and I upload videos at Woops. And thank you very much, Frosty, for having me on again. It's always a pleasure.
Love having you on, dude. That all being said, too, I'll see you next week. You know? We're gonna do a show on, I don't know, fucking jobs or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, Meoni.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Meoni1, because I couldn't have Meoni because it's one letter too short apparently for YouTube. I don't know why. And yeah, I basically do videos all week, every week, and cover all sorts of bits and pieces from a game. I'm really excited for the expansion, so be sure to check it out if you've got time. But thank you so much for having me on. It's been a true pleasure, especially to be surrounded by other great creators. So I'm really, really grateful, and good luck on the next World Race. And I hope that World Race actually gets the recognition that it deserves, because it does a lot of good for the community, and it brings in a lot of people from other games, and Square Enix needs to pay attention to that.
True.
Thank you.
Fun fact. Meoni was one of the first Final Fantasy creators I watched back in Heavensward when I started playing.
No shit.
Oh, that's
so cool. Meoni's like one of the OG FF14 creators, unironically.
Jeez, dude, that was a long time.
Been making very good content for a long time.
It's taken me that long to get you on the show. I feel like a fucking ass, dude. I'm sorry, dude.
That's all right. just keep calling me Melon. I'll be happy.
Melon.
Like, just remember,
bring on the melon.
Nothing else, and I'll be happy. But yeah, it's been a long journey. It really has, and I'm excited to see the next 10 years as well. Really.
Yeah, dude. Like, we're at the start of it, dude. We're gonna be in retirement homes by the end of the fucking next leg of these expansions, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hope it's got decent fiber though. Bloody hell.
Ah, Jesus Christ. Press now. All right, Rinon.
Hey, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I make YouTube videos at Rin Banana on YouTube. I am releasing a really long, like 50-minute video where I yap about the jobs on like Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you want, you're welcome to check that out. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had fun. It was fun to talk about the media tour with you guys.
It was a blast. And yeah, I only have cool people who come on this show, so you know, it's good. You'll always be in good company here. Okay? All right. All right, everybody. We're gonna wrap up now. We're going to get this live, hopefully by at least Monday. We'll get it on YouTube. Should be pretty easy to get this uploaded. Maybe Sunday. I don't know. And then we'll be back to doing DSR on this channel tomorrow night. To see how far we can get. We're on Rough. I think Arthur's is going to come in and sub for us tomorrow night too. Make sure. But we're doing that. And then Monday, I will have Monday night's maintenance night, isn't it? Every fucking Monday. Anyways, so no stream on Monday, but we'll be back on Tuesday after that, guys. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. You're all fantastic. I hope that you're happy with everyone's content from Media Tour. Please go check out everybody's content from Media Tour. The thing is, there's so much content out of Media Tour that everyone who made something for it is going to be a little bit different than the other person you watched. So feel free to check out multiple videos on the same topic, and you'll probably have different bits that you didn't see from the other videos because there's just too much to cover. Especially like the jobs, especially the different little system things. You'll be surprised if how many times if like you watch the same fucking Picto video from 3 different creators, you're gonna learn 3 different things about it. I think at least maybe I don't know, maybe I'm wording that incorrectly, but go watch everybody's shit. Okay, all right, guys, stay tuned. We're gonna raid somebody here in just a second. Remember, be good, keep cool, stay frosty, everybody. Wave. Bye.
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 Bye.